I am Dave Willis, the Deputy of Small Business Programs, and welcome to our 23 version of Small Business Industry Day. It has been a challenge to get here, without a doubt. Ms. Ness Vance, who's sitting up here. Everybody should give her a round of applause for everything that goes into that. And if you've never done one of these events, please check with her. And besides, we'll be taking the day off, boss, after this. All right, little introduction there. We got to have some rules and regulations because we are on a military installation. First of all, everybody silence their phone. I don't want to hear about your wife needing milk and bread and all those kind of things. Okay? But thank you for taking time out of your busy day to come and join us, as well as the presenters here out of their day. Some of them from out of town. They're not local. My one that's staring me over here to the left there comes from our headquarters in D.C. Mr. Joe, and I will try to pronounce your last name, but please, I will not butcher or disrespect you in any form or fashion. All right, sounds good. Okay. But we have a lot of information for you, and that's what you're going to hear, information and opportunity. And I will say this right now, we're going to have a little contest. During the day, during all the presentations you hear, please write down how many times you hear the word opportunity for it. And when we start the afternoon session, I'll ask for that. Okay? And there'll be a little prize. It won't be big, won't be anything. Boss, it's nothing, don't worry about that. Okay, good. All right, let's do a little good deed. If you are a veteran, in uniform, former, or have served, please stand. Please give them a round of applause. Thank you for your service. Many sleepless nights. Thank you, boss. Thank you, Major. Many sleepless nights. How many birthdays did we miss? Yeah. How many wife's appointments did we miss? Doctor's appointments? Anybody miss their kid's birth? Yeah. Boss, we could talk, but that's anyway. But thank you for your service. A special thanks goes out to the folks in the back of the room. The SAMI organization, Society of Military Engineers, New Orleans, or Louisiana District, I do believe, or division. So please, enjoy their pastries and coffee. They got some good coffee back there. It's local, Joe. You won't get it up in D.C., sorry. All right, I'm an equal opportunity guy, and I pick on all fairly, so watch out. All right. Like I said, it couldn't happen without Ness. If you want any more, hey, I can't say enough about her. When you hire somebody 3rd of July, and today is end of August, and this is what happens. Good things. The things that you see laying around. The pamphlets, the promotional information, the flyers, the agendas, things like that. That was her. I gave her a task in the beginning, and man, she answered the bell. Just think what we can do down the road. Look out for bigger and better things. Okay, let's talk about the district a little bit, little rules and regulations. In the event of a fire or emergency, please exit the doors in the back and go out, and there's a flagpole out there. We'll reconvene out there just until the building's clear, if it happens. I hope it doesn't happen, but sometimes we do. Security. You're allowed to go to the restrooms. We'll talk about the location of those. We have a cafeteria, vending. Swipe your card only. No cash, no attendee or anybody monitored. But there's plenty of cameras up there to catch you. So be respectful. Do not wander the halls. You're given a band, you're given these tags for a reason. There are security folks that will be monitoring. The cafeteria, go out the back of the facility here, turn right, turn left. There's 2 elevators there. 2nd floor is where you want to be. Turn right off the 2nd floor. Follow all the great signs that our visual information folks displayed out there for you, if you're going up that way. If not, there's a list of local restaurants in the area. So we try to make lunch about 11:30 to about noon, somewhere in that. Hopefully be back in here at 1, so you'll see a different arrangement in here. There'll be some tables on the outside here. And then some of those chairs will disappear. This is where the one-on-one begins. This is where you engage with us, or our agent, our procurement folks, our program managers, our leadership engages with you. This is where you can ask us questions that you have long burning desire to get the answer to. Restrooms, very important subject for a guy my age, right? Yes. I hope it's where anybody who needs it. We go out the exit, go out the doors there, to the right. You walk straight, gentleman is straight there. Turn left, then turn right again. That is the ladies on the other side. Sorry, ladies, that's the boss that put it that way. Like I say, the word today is going to be opportunity. There's plenty of them. Oh, no wonder I wasn't having it. Thank you. There's my buddy Howie. Anybody know him?
Yeah.
Yeah. I could not find the little gift or little video that he talked about, I smell opportunity on America's Got Talent. We looked hard, so we came up with the second best thing. But if you don't smell opportunity in this room, please check yourself. Because there's nothing but opportunity in this room. Whether it be with us, some of our other districts here, hearing from headquarters about the rules and regulations of small business. It's there to protect us. Opportunity, opportunity, opportunity. How many times is it going to knock before you're going to answer? Who's looking to move their company up to that next level of business success? Everybody should be raising their hand. Thank you. Everybody should be looking for it. How am I going to get there? This is one way to show you the way. If you know, you're going to follow it. Is it right for me? That's up to you. Okay. With that, I'd like to introduce and move on with the agenda. And by the way, if you did not pick up one of those handy-dandy good advertisement things out back, please do. It's packed full of information for you to help you. Thanks to our team out back that greeted you this morning and the team you're going to meet this afternoon. So, with that being said, I'd like to introduce Colonel Jones, District Engineer.
Well, good morning, everybody. How we doing?
Good morning.
So once again, a lesson learned for me is never follow David Willis. But as you heard, I am Colonel Cullen Jones, the 65th Commander and District Engineer for the New Orleans District, U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. And on behalf of our entire team, welcome to our Small Business Industry Day. It is a critical component of our engagement with small business to enable us to deliver this massive program that we have in South Louisiana. Before I get started, I just want to reiterate the thanks for the entire team that made this happen today. A massive event like this requires a lot of planning, coordination, and synchronization across the entire team. So both to the small business team along with everyone within district and our professional societies that are in support of today, thank you. I would also like to thank our presenters that are going to be here today. Most notably, we're going to be able to hear some words from Representative Troy Carter, who is a massive friend of small business. And small business tends to be local businesses, and as such, we're excited to hear his words and thank him for taking the time to join along with us. In addition to that, really appreciate Mr. Joe from headquarters coming in to join us as well, along with Ms. JoAnn Lawrence from Louisiana Small Business, and then Ms. Cindy Carrier from Louisiana Apex Accelerators. I'm also excited to say that we have small business professionals from across the Corps and the Mississippi Valley Division here today to engage with you all on how we can help deliver not only the program in South Louisiana, but across our enterprise. We have elements from the Mississippi Valley Division, Memphis, Vicksburg, Galveston, Mobile, and Rock Island. But most notably, we also say, not that I'm partial, but completely biased, with the New Orleans District team here to engage with you to include contracting, engineering, our program and project management, and our operations division. So the ability for you all to sit down, talk with them, look at the opportunities that we have today is going to be critical. And why do I say that? You know, although we be geographically small, we are fierce in regards to our program. You're looking at a $5.4 billion program in South Louisiana. From Old River Control to the Gulf of Mexico, from heel to toe, we have studies or ongoing construction projects active throughout South Louisiana, all directed towards reducing risk, for life, property, and prosperity for our fellow citizens, which at the end of the day, what does that mean for us? That means that we are enabled to allow for economic development in this area, which ultimately results in our ability to maintain national security. If you think about it, that's the ultimate goal of everything that we're doing here. And the only way we can do it is working with industry and with small industry. And when I say that the New Orleans District is a friend of small industry, realize that we obligate nearly $1 billion per year. 50% of that goes to small businesses. So we need you on our team, working with our larger industry partners to make this happen. So for today, you're going to hear a lot of us provide presentations, upcoming opportunities within our programs, but those small breakout sections are going to be critical. We want you to hear from you. We want you to engage with us. We want you to see those opportunities that you can partner with us in South Louisiana and across the enterprise so that we can deliver this massive program for the nation. And I'm confident today that's going to be the outcome. We've got a lot of great presenters here this morning. We're looking for your suggestions on how to make this better in the future. And on that note, it is my great pleasure to turn it over to Representative Carter to provide us a few words as well. So thank you very much.
Unfortunately, Mr. Carter could not make it, so he did the next best thing. Since holographic imaging hasn't quite made it, or AI hasn't quite made it yet, we have a video of that from him. So please direct your attention to the monitors and enjoy.
Hello, I'm Congressman Troy Carter, and I proudly represent Louisiana's 2nd Congressional District. I'm honored to join you on New Orleans Small Business Industry Day. New Orleans is a city that thrives on our rich culture and all the fantastic small businesses located here. Our small businesses are the heartbeat of our city. Not only do they contribute to our economy, but they also demonstrate our diversity, innovation, and uniqueness. While we acknowledge the vast contributions of this industry, we also must recognize the obstacles and challenges they face. The COVID-19 pandemic further highlighted how vulnerable these businesses are and the importance of ensuring they have equitable access to all resources. As a former small business owner, I understand the type of unique support that our entrepreneurs need. This Congress, the House passed my Small Business Advocacy Improvements Act, representing small businesses' interest in international discussions. While partnering with my colleagues in D.C. to pass critical legislation, I'm working extensively with agencies like the Small Business Administration to ensure that businesses in our district have access to hands-on support, resources, and outlets to express their needs and interests clearly. I've also worked with the Minority Business Development Agency to ensure diverse and equitable representation in this sector. I proudly helped craft and voted for the bipartisan infrastructure law, which provides critical funding for our businesses and is bringing tangible results to Louisiana. One of the most important ways this bill has helped our small business is through investments in broadband access. In today's world, the internet is no longer a luxury. It is a necessity. Now, through the Affordable Connectivity Program, millions of entrepreneurs around the country will have access to reliable, affordable internet to help them promote their businesses or even expand them online. Finally, I want to address that this is hurricane season, and I know that entrepreneurs have unique concerns during natural disasters. This can cause anxiety, but rest assured, if we do have a storm, I will work to make sure that all of our small businesses have the necessary resources to recover by working with agencies like FEMA and the SBA. Please remember that I am in Congress fighting for you. And if you ever have any questions or concerns, my office is on only a phone call away. I hope you all have an excellent rest of your day. Keep doing good work, and may God continue to bless you. Stay safe, be careful, and let's not just survive, let's thrive.
I'm just sorry that the good congressman could not be here today, but those are very fine words to follow by, and he is a very strong advocate for the small business. Getting your share of those those opportunities that are out there. There's that word again, opportunity. You'll hear it. I hope you take it home with you. Find it today. And by the way, as far as there will be a survey that will come to you too, as the good colonel talked about, how to make it better. We want to hear from you. We want to be a partner with you to make these events better and more meaningful to you. All right, the next keynote speaker we have here is Mr. Joe, and I will not butcher his last name out of respect for him. I have a lot of talents, but this is beyond me. So, Mr. Joe from Headquarters, USACE Policy Division. Joe.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
So first of all, I want to thank David, I want to thank Ness, I want to thank Colonel Jones, Representative Carter, and all of the Corps of Engineers New Orleans District. I really appreciate this invitation, and it's a pleasure to be here. It's an honor to be here. I have been here before, so this is not my first time here. I'm a big supporter of the New Orleans District, big supporter of your mission. When you succeed, America succeeds. So I'm glad to be here. It's an honor. A little bit about me. I just go by Joe, but if people have a hang-up with my last name, they want to get it right, I don't really care. I'm totally cool. You don't get born with a name like that and be picky about how people pronounce it. But if you're really into pronunciation, it's Radzievich. It's a Polish spelling convention, but the family's from Lithuania. It's a very unique name. I am, letter for letter, the only living Joe Radzievich in the USA. So that's a useless piece of information you didn't need, but now you know. Okay? And it meets somebody else who, I know a Joe Radzievich. Well, look at the letters. His name is spelled different. Believe me, I've looked into this. So, but yes, it's always a matter of curiosity for people. A little bit about my background. I worked in the private sector in construction contracting, so I know what it's like to be in your seat. I went to law school, got a law degree. I'm a lawyer by training. I'm licensed in Washington, D.C. I do a little bit of volunteering outside of work. I volunteer pro bono or for free in D.C.'s landlord-tenant court. I represent clients who are at risk of eviction, trying to prevent them from becoming homeless. But for the Corps, I don't work as a lawyer. I work as a procurement analyst. I've been with the Corps. This is my 14th year. I worked at district level at Baltimore District in contracting there as a contract specialist and a procurement analyst. I worked on a number of different types of contracts, including environmental remediation services, cleaning up formerly used defense sites, as well as, at that time, this was more years than I care to remember, it's been 14 years, the Recovery Act, if we all remember that. I worked on Recovery Act contracts as well. I now work at Headquarters, and I am the policy analyst or small business policy analyst within our Headquarters Office of Small Business Programs. So I'm going to learn how to use this clicker. There we go. So today's topic is building your appeal to pronouncing my name correctly. What's my name? No, that's not my name or the presentation. It's your appeal to the Corps of Engineers. What are some practical tips for contractors? My information is on this slide. I'll be here for the networking event this afternoon. I am very serious about being responsive, so you can call me, you can email me. Nobody can say, well, I just couldn't find you on the internet. Literally, I'm 5 seconds away on a Google click. There's only one Joe Radzievich. So please feel free after today, either in the afternoon or any time, to reach out to me. I'm always happy to talk to you. You probably don't believe me, but try me. Give me a call 2 weeks from now, and I will answer the phone or call you back. So what is the objective for today? Opportunities. David mentioned that. This is not just some sort of line, right? This is real. We have a lot of work to do. We need you. We need your help. So we want to help you. We want you to know, help you learn how you can engage better with us and understand us and our requirements. So we're going to look at how to look at tools and resources so you can research effectively what contract opportunities are out there that best match your firm's capabilities and build a savvy knowledge base. And then we're also going to talk about some of the really hot topics in small business contracting policy for you to be aware of. So the roadmap for today, we're going to talk about effective communication. Secondly, what are some research tools you need to use and master? I'm all about real-world scenarios. I'm not using names to protect the guilty. I mean the innocent. But I'll give you an example of a new contractor and then a more experienced contractor, and what are some issues to be aware of to help you learn and grow. And then we'll talk about some policy updates. Again, after the presentation, one-on-one questions are welcome, but that's this afternoon, I think, at the networking event. Yeah. So, first of all, effective communication. How can you communicate effectively with the Corps of Engineers? When we think about communication, we think about language, right? If you look at people who are successful, they all have something in common. So who is a brand new small business contractor? And I promise I won't embarrass you. Who's new? Somebody's new. Okay. Can I get some more hands? I only got 2 hands. Okay. What is your name? Yes,
Okay,
brand
my
new.
name is Darby.
What's that?
Darby.
Darby, and what firm do you represent?
Germ Slayers Cleaning and Maintenance Solutions.
Can you say it one more time?
Germ Slayers Cleaning and Maintenance Solutions.
I want to make sure I get it right.
Germ Slayers.
Germ Slayers Cleaning and Maintenance Solutions, and it's LaDarby. Is it Landry?
Yeah.
LaDarby Landry. I want you to remember that name. Does anybody know LaDarby Landry? Okay. And you just met her. Okay. What you want to do today as a new small business is you want to grow your brand. When you think of people who are successful, who comes to mind? Think of people who are good communicators. I think of Oprah Winfrey. Okay? There was a time when she was in this person's shoes and nobody knew who she was. Today, if you got to really spill some tea, like you got something really big to share, maybe you'll call Wendy Williams, who we love. But let's be honest, you really want Oprah to interview you. Because Oprah has a skill. She knows how to ask a question and let you talk, and you will say things that, ooh, I didn't mean to say that, but there it is. She knows the language of her profession. Think of Beyonce. When Beyonce started, do you think people knew that she would become multi-millionaire? I think she's a billionaire, right? Entertainer, business person, singer. I have a friend in D.C. who couldn't get tickets for the Beyonce concert in D.C. So she went to Toronto, Canada to see Beyonce there with a whole bunch of other people from D.C. They left the country to see her concert. That's how successful Beyonce is with her brand. When you hear her name, she doesn't have to be introduced. You hear Oprah's name, they don't have to be introduced. You know who they are and what they do, and you know they're very good at what they do. But it took many years of work. They had to start out where you are, who are starting out as new small businesses. Learning the language. Here, small business policy may sound like something that's better than a sleeping pill. Having trouble sleeping tonight? Let's talk about the federal acquisition regulations. Woo! You don't need Walgreens to put you to sleep. Bring out the FAR, federal acquisition regulations. But that is the language of this profession. The language of government contracting is government procurement. You have to know the rules and the policies and how they work. If you want to be successful, if you already are successful, but you want to grow your business. So you need to think about a research strategy. You need to think about how you can identify your capabilities in your NAICS codes and match that to what is in System for Award Management. We call it sam.gov. This is something, the second bullet, I'm really going to emphasize a lot. An internal employee training program. Now, some of you didn't raise your hands when I said new businesses because you're more established. And you probably think, hey, we got this. We understand policy. We know the process. That's for people who are entry level. Do you think Oprah looks in the mirror or Beyonce looks in the mirror saying, man, I am the best? Probably not. They are always looking to improve and grow. Your business, even if it's an established business, has to have an internal training program. And we'll talk more about that. But here, I'm recommending make sure you're training all of your employees, both new and existing, how to best research sam.gov. Sam.gov is a very complex site. Who thinks that sam.gov is complex? Every single hand in this room unless you're holding a coffee. It should be up. I haven't mastered SAM.gov. SAM.gov can intimidate me sometimes. There's a lot of information out there. How do you find that needle in a haystack? When you are communicating with Corps of Engineers, you want to avoid the spam-style communications. I know you wrote a great email, and then you copy and pasted it and sent it to 150 people all over the federal government, and you thought you personalized it because you put Dear Joe at the top. Guess what? Joe's read a spam message before. And so is Sally Sue and David and Ness and the Colonel. You get them all the time. Please don't send them. Instead, send something more tailored and specific. Demonstrate you understand what the district or center's mission is. If you're communicating with New Orleans District, please don't send the Colonel an email about weapon systems. You know, we love the Joint Strike Fighter, the F-35. I'm pretty sure, Colonel, you're not building planes here. And if you don't know that, that's not a good way to build communication. When you do a capabilities briefing, sometimes contractors just want to do a briefing to say they do a briefing so they can go back to their boss and say, guess what I did? A briefing. What your boss really wants to hear is that you're making money for the company, not that you're just giving random briefings. You want to make sure your capabilities briefing aligns with the USACE mission. If you're not quite sure what New Orleans District does, go to sam.gov. It's not top secret. And you will see examples of sources sought announcements, contract awards. You'll get a flavor of what the mission is. And if this district doesn't do the work you do, then you need to find another district that does. And you find that through sam.gov. I'm trying to use the clicker here. So what if I have a problem and I want to communicate it? And this is something that David asked me to talk about. The Small Business Regulatory Enforcement Act, SBREFA, we're going to call it SBREFA. What is SBREFA? So SBREFA is basically a process in which you can communicate concerns if you feel there's been some degree of regulatory unfairness. First and foremost, if you have a problem with the contract, who do you contact? You contact the colonel directly and say, I want to talk with the commander. I'm sure the colonel gets a few of those about contract number 8257-BB31. And the colonel's like, yes, I am familiar with that. Thank you. You don't go to the colonel about that. You go to the contracting officer's representative, if that's the appropriate person, or the contracting officer. Every contract has a parent called a contracting officer. In some agencies outside of DOD, they call them COs. We don't do that in the Army because that's commanding officer. We call them KOs. We just take the letter K and make it mean something else. So you talk to the KO. If you cannot resolve the concern with the contracting officer, and again you believe there's some regulation that wasn't followed. An example, you think that there's too many audits, an unreasonable investigation, an unreasonable fine, a penalty, maybe a threat, some type of retaliation or unfair action. Then that's where SBREFA comes into play. There's 3 steps initially. First step, you contact your local small business professional, SBP, at the appropriate geographic location. So who are our SBPs who are here today? Show of hands. Okay. Now, I know Sonya Rodgers from Mobile District. So I have an issue with the contractor, or excuse me, a contract. Couldn't work it out with the contracting officer in New Orleans District. So I'm going to contact Sonya because I know Sonya and she's cool. Is that the correct procedure? No. That does not make sense. That's like calling the police when you have a fire. Right? You want the fire department. You've got to make sure you're contacting the right person. You're going to talk to David Willis. You're going to talk to Ness. And how do you say your last name, Ness? Comez Vance. Ness Comez Vance. You're going to talk to the local small business professional. Don't know who they are? Here's a web link. If you want a copy of these slides, by the way, see me this afternoon, I'll email it to you. I answer emails too, not just phone calls. But all these web links, this is public information. If 30 days go by and it's not resolved, then we go to step 2. Then you can contact the Assistant Director of Small Business. We call them ADs. Your local SBPs work for their AD. That's their supervisor. ADs do not sit At the district, they sit at a division. In this division, it's Mississippi Valley Division. They sit in Vicksburg. Don't know who they are? There's the list. Third step, 30 days go by. That doesn't resolve it. Then you talk to my office at headquarters, and you include this information. It may seem obvious, but include it in the subject heading of the email. I got a problem with contract number 725. Please don't do that. SPREFA inquiry. Make it clear what you're talking about and give us this information, including a contract number, but include that in the email. And you see the information there, contractor name, USACE contract, USACE location, names of the employees you contacted, and a brief description and a current status of the issue. And that gets to communicating. SBA Ombudsman. If that doesn't resolve it, you have resources at the Small Business Administration. We have Ms. JoAnn Lawrence. Small Business Administration will be here today. There's information on who you can contact there. We really want to resolve this before we go to SBA. No offense to SBA, but we want to resolve this. We are focused on the mission. So hopefully it doesn't come to that, but that is available to you. Our second point here, research tools to utilize and master. Remember, the language of procurement, or the language here is government procurement. You want to build a regular battle rhythm where you check and you're actively engaging in resources. People ask me sometimes, where do you get your news? I say it's not a place. I go to several places. That's the same thing that you want to do. Someone dropped something there. That's the same thing you want to do when you're researching government policy. Here we have the headquarters small business site. There's a contractor registry here. How many of you signed up in the contractor registry on the headquarters site? Okay, it's good to be honest, or we're just being lazy, I don't know. You need to sign up on that site. Get helpful information. It has a link to every USACE district and center website. If you don't know it already, every USACE district and center is kind of like a little island, and they have their own commander, they have their own contracting office, they also post their own acquisition forecasts. You can get links to that here. System for award management. You need to be on there tracking requirements. I know it's frustrating, but that's where the information is. And of course, Small Business Administration. We'll talk about it a little bit later today, the Ultima 8A case. How many of you are 8A contractors? Okay, did you cringe a little bit when I said Ultima? Maybe a little nervous about that. We're going to talk about that later. As a recent court case has caused a lot of changes in the 8A program. We'll try to put that, any fears you have, to rest there. But you can find information about that at the Small Business Administration site. Here's another resource. This is on the headquarters website. How many of you are in dredging? We love the dredging community. Let's give a round of applause for dredging. They don't get enough love. But dredging is very important. If you're interested in the latest updates, including a 5-year dredging opportunity outlook, here's a link on our website called the Dredging Corner, headquarters website. I think I went too far there. There we go. Okay, so make sure you're staying well informed. How many of you, and this is an honest question, we don't punish anyone for answering this, how many of you are not registered on Federal Register? Oh, really? You're all registered on Federal Register? Show your hands, please. We have some brave souls in the back. Thank you for your honesty. Most of you probably are not. That's okay. Yeah. It's okay. I don't like to admit when I don't do something I need to do. I know it's a very eat your vegetables kind of thing, but it's very important to be on the Federal Register so that you see and you can tailor it to what you want to see, what updates or regulations are coming your way. Consider third-party sources. Again, this is not an endorsement, but I don't know about you, I want to know what people are saying about small business contracting. So one of the blogs I go to is called SmallGovCon. It's very interesting. Another organization, which I think we have represented here today with the very nice banner in the back, is the Society of American Military Engineers, SAME. They have, it's totally free, you can go to their website, a magazine called The Military Engineer. How many of you read The Military Engineer? It's exciting reading. Bring it to your local dental office. You know, get rid of those old Us Weeklies. We heard enough about George Clooney. So-and-so might get divorced. Let's read the military engineer, because that's useful reading. You can learn a lot about USACE projects, the way they work, and guess what? Who is working them? Who the project managers are? Who are the faces behind these SAM.gov sources sought announcements? You get to know who they are. Why read a Federal Register update? Here's an example. Last August, there was a major change in past performance ratings. For the first time, small business contractors can get a rating for work they did as a joint venture or as a first-tier subcontractor. That's a very significant change. Now, that was a final rule that came out in August. Now, let's say you are signed up to get Federal Register updates. And what is your name, sir? Mr. Cameron Williams from SH Enterprise LLC, if I can read correctly. So Mr. Williams wants to stay on the top of his game. He has signed up on federalregister.gov. This is the final rule. Guess what happens in administrative regulations? Before there's a final rule, there's a what? Draft rule. There's a draft rule. Who said draft rule? You get the prize of knowing you're the smartest person in the room. Congratulations. There's no cash associated with that, but you're a smart man, smart person. Yes, there's a draft rule. So if you aren't on this update, you don't know it's coming. But if you are, and you're like the gentleman over here, what was your name, sir? Mr. Williams? Mr. Williams knows it's coming because he's read the draft rule. So when it's published in August, his company is ready to implement and ready to respond for that. There are a lot of helpful resources available. If you are in New Orleans District, what is this man's name? Say it loud and say it proud. Willis. And what is this fine person's name? Ness. A last name like mine that may be a little hard to pronounce. So what did I do? Okay. They are your best contacts, your local small business professional or SVP. If you don't know who it is, there's a link. Additional resources. We have a general inquiry email address, which is manned at our headquarters office. If you're just kind of lost and you're looking for some assistance, that's a great resource. We also have a phone number that is a voicemail that goes to the email. Keep your eyes on bills pending on Capitol Hill. Remember Schoolhouse Rock? Who remembers Schoolhouse Rock? I'm just a bill up on... Sing for me. I need to be entertained, people. I'm just a bill. That's right. See? You didn't think you'd hear bad singing today, but we give you a lot in this program. We do not disappoint. Why in the world is a small business contractor, and what was your business again?
Germ slayers.
Germ Slayers. I love that name. Why is Germ Slayers checking out the National Defense Authorization Act? That seems a little out of left field. Well, because the NDAA, as it's known, is a must-pass bill that Congress and the President must pass. If they don't pass that bill each year, our fine people in uniform like Colonel Jones don't get this thing called a paycheck. And guess what? That doesn't go over too well in congressional districts. So guess what bill always passes in Washington every year? The NDAA. Now, if you're a member of Congress and you know it's a must-pass bill, then guess what you can do? You got a bill in the House Committee of Small Business and it's not going anywhere, or the Senate Committee on Small Business and Entrepreneurship, and it's about the 8A program, or it's about women-owned small business, and your individual standalone bill isn't getting a lot of traction. But Majority Leader so-and-so needs your vote, Senator, Representative. Oh, you want me to vote for NDAA? Let me talk about the 8A program, how important it is for New Orleans business. You see how this happens, folks? It becomes a rider, it gets in the NDAA, and then bam, just around Christmas time, end of December, it is the LAW. It's the law. If you were following these bills, you would know that. You don't want to read about it in the news in early January and be like, I didn't see it coming. Really? If you were reading these sites, you would know it was coming. So let's look at a hypothetical scenario. How am I doing on time? Am I doing okay? Yep, good. All right. Always give me the vaudeville hook. I will not be offended. I'll go in a corner and cry. Oh, they made me stop. Hypothetical scenario. This is the new contractor. Let's show our hands. Who are new contractors here? First 2-3 years. Okay, that's good. Good amount of hands. Contractor Alpha. This is none of you, by the way, so hypothetical. is new to the federal government, just starting their business. Alpha puts together a short brochure because you want people to know about your great capabilities, but does not include any NAICS codes or prior examples of contracted work. Alpha does have experience subcontracting with local and state government, but does not list this work on their capabilities brochure. Alpha reaches out to the local small business professional at a USACE district, which does not perform the work that Alpha does, and says, hey, I would like a capabilities briefing, because I need to get some practice, you know? Practice makes perfect. So I'll be there tomorrow at 9. Ready? What are some of the potential issues with Alpha preparing and engaging with the acquisition stakeholders here? And you can, I'll take a volunteer here. What's that?
Past performance.
Past performance. You have great work and you didn't include it in your brochure. I have seen new contractors who've had brochures about, I have this license, I have this certification, I have, you know, this and that, but they don't include some critical information. Okay? So they didn't include past performance. What else is a little strange here?
The next code.
Learn the language. Imagine if Beyonce said, I want to be a great singer, but I'm not really going to learn too much about music. That's pretty ridiculous, right? There is no one in this room who's going to be successful in government contracting if you don't use the correct NAICS codes. You don't speak the language. Also, what's another problem here?
They're trying to perform work that, well, they perform work that the USACE is not looking for.
Absolutely correct. Performing work that USACE doesn't look for. So again, contact David Willis, I contact Ness, and I say, I have this great service, this great product. It's this product that can be used in a weapon system and blah, 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 blah. And David and Ness are just like, ooh, this person doesn't know what we do. So make sure your pitch is tailored. So here are some answers that we talked about. First of all, Alpha needs to work with their Apex Accelerator, formerly known as PTAC. How many of you work with your Apex Accelerators? Almost every hand. I'm glad to see that. They provide great initial training and foundational preparation. They will help you get appropriate SBA certifications. If you're a veteran-owned business, contact the VA. They have resources for you as well. Apex Accelerators can help you build your capabilities brochures and briefings. Also research SBA as well as SAM.gov. And make sure you're targeting your capabilities briefing. No practice sales pitches. Do that internally in your office. Think internal training program. But don't do that at the Corps of Engineers. So some of you didn't raise your hand about new businesses because you're a more established business. Who's a more established business? Okay, it's a good mix. So this is the well-prepared contractor. Contractor Beta has been in business for 5 years. From the very beginning, it's been working with their Apex Accelerator, formerly PTAC. Beta works with the VA, has a certified service-disabled veteran-owned small business certification, also is a certified small disadvantaged business, got their certifications through SBA. They're looking to perform work within their NAICS code specialty. They use SAM.gov regularly to respond to source of sought announcements that match their capabilities. They research, look at this here, local acquisition forecasts on a website. How many of you have been in New Orleans District website to look at the local forecast? Okay, about half of you. By tomorrow, I want you to make a promise to me, which I will give you no reward. But promise me you'll look at the website. Can we hold them to that?
We can.
They get no reward other than
No
feeling
reward.
good about yourself. But check out the local forecast.
Hey, Joe, that's opportunity, isn't it?
It is opportunities.
Award.
Word of the day. They are preparing tailored capabilities briefings. They're writing effective responses. And this last point, they are researching the latest acquisition requirements and policy updates. So this gentleman here, Mr. Williams, he is on federalregister.gov. He's getting tailored updates. He's staying informed. Why is Beta well suited? Well, it seems kind of obvious, but you'd be surprised how many businesses, once they get started, don't necessarily connect with PTAC. I've talked with small businesses, and they're like, oh yeah, I called PTAC once. I'm like, once? That's like if I asked you, do you go to the doctor? It's like, yes, I went once in the distant season of the past. Like, what? I don't want to see the results from your next physical. You went once? You need to continue to engage. Consult with the Veterans Administration. Consult with SBA. Ensure you have a robust internal training program. Training new employees, training existing employees. How many of you have established businesses where you have experienced people who think they know their stuff? Training is a waste of time. You know what you call that kind of person? Not Beyonce. Not Oprah. Not the successful business person that Germ Slayers, specifically LaDarby Landry, is going to be. That's not a future LaDarby Landry. You have to be open to learning new things. And your employees have to be actively engaging. How do you stay current on the latest updates? So we're getting towards the end of the presentation now. I appreciate your patience with me. For the final part of the presentation, am I okay on time?
Yeah.
We're going to talk about what is really hot right now. So just came out the other week, the SBA has extended their moratorium on bona fide place of business requirements for 8A construction contracts. Who are 8A contractors? Okay, this is very important. It's been extended to 30 September 2024. Now that's roughly a 1-year extension. You can read about it on the SBA's press release site. What could happen in December? Our good Representative Carter needs to vote on what? NDAA. A lot of people support this moratorium and they don't want it to end on 30 September 2024. So what could our good Representative Carter, his name is Carter, correct? Yes. What could he do? He could say, I would love to vote for the NDAA. I'd also love it if you'd include a permanent statutory moratorium on bona fide place of business for 8A construction contracts. Doesn't mean Representative Carter will do that specifically, but there's a lot of members of Congress who listen to people like you who might put that in as a condition of voting for the NDAA. There's no guarantees, but it's possible. So that's another reason why you need to be looking at the congressional websites. See what they're talking about. See what's in the NDAA. So that's really the only important update. It was so great to meet all of you. I'm kidding you. What's the deal with Ultima 8A? How many of you are familiar with the Ultima 8A case? If you're not, you're going to be. If you're an 8A contractor, you want to pay a lot of attention to this. What is it exactly? So this July, a federal district court in Tennessee decided that the reasonable presumption of social disadvantage to individuals of certain racial groups was unconstitutional in the 8A program. SBA, as part of an injunction from that case, has to temporarily suspend any new 8A applications to comply with the court's decision. Okay? If you are an existing 8A contractor working on an existing 8A contract that's already been approved and awarded, you're okay. But there are some caveats to be aware of. So, if you are about to get awarded to an 8A competed or sole source contractor order on a MATOC, a GWOC, or a BPA, in the past, SBA would allow a contracting officer to award if SBA did not respond. Okay? Now the court says, no, SBA has to make an affirmation. It can take 5 days or longer. The award may not be made until the affirmation has been received by the contracting officer. And by the way, it's the contracting officer who's making this request. The determination affirmation requirement doesn't apply to a competitive 8A order against an 8A set-aside MATOC, GWOC, or FSS contract. It's a particular type, competitive 8A. But it also does not apply to entity-owned organizations, tribes, Alaskan Native corporations, Native Hawaiian organizations, and community development corporations. But for everybody else, within this definition, it is required. This is a class deviation memo. You can find this online as well. It's posted by the Defense Pricing and Contracting Office. It's an entity within DoD. It's public information. It gives you this information. There's also information on SBA's website. There are 3 distinguishing categories of 8A businesses when you do an ultimate 8A analysis. The category 3 at the bottom are the ANCs, the tribes, the NHOs. They are not required to get the affirmation or acceptance. So if you're one of those organizations, this is a lot simpler to think about. Category 2 are businesses that have proven a social disadvantage by discrimination or economic disadvantage. They still require an affirmation or acceptance from SBA. Okay, because the contracting officer doesn't have that information. SBA does. The first category is different. Category 1, small business firms did use the rebuttable presumption of social disadvantage to enter the program. These programs definitely require an affirmation or acceptance. You want to follow the SBA's guidelines, very detailed instructions on their website, but most importantly, that's for contracting officers, right? You are not going to SBA and requesting affirmation. It's a contracting officer who does. But that's the process that you would have to go through. So I hope I was okay on time. This concludes my presentation today. I am going to be available this afternoon, one-on-one. I'm happy to share my slides later. Again, my email and phone, please feel free. Remember the web links in the presentation. If you do request it from me and I send it to you, you know, the internet changes. Web link may not work a month or 2 months from now. You want to do your due diligence to make sure you have the most current links. And the last thing I just want to leave you with is, think of what I was saying at the beginning about learning the language of government procurement. Learn the language of your profession. Beyonce, Oprah, these very successful people never stop learning that language. When they come into a room, no one has to say, this is Beyonce, she is this and that. You know her brand. This is Oprah, she is a successful. No one has to give them that introduction, right? Because they never stop learning the language of their profession. And when someone like, and pardon me, I will get your name, LaDarby Landry from Germ Slayers, one day LaDarby Landry, my goal for you, as well as all of you, is to walk in a room and they know you like they know Beyonce. They know you like they know Oprah. Because you learn the language of your profession. You learn the language of government procurement. So that is really the challenge that I give all of you. And it's a challenge I take myself. I always am learning. Learn the language of government procurement. Learn how to use these tools. That is how you will effectively engage and be successful in your business and in helping USACE meet our mission. Thank you very much. You've been great.
Please give a round of applause. If you did pick up something out of that, you were asleep, that's for sure. And one day I'm going to hope to be close to him in his technique and delivery and holding an audience's attention like this. Which Mr. Mark Wingate is up next, our head DPM as well, and he's going to give us a little brief, a little tease of 24, what we have left in 23, and a little insight into 24. We said opportunity and knowledge is a powerful thing. As Joe referred to, it's there. Here's where the opportunity, the learning continues. Opportunity. Mr. Wingate, sir.
Hey, thank you, Dave. I'm not Oprah, not Beyonce, but I am Mark Wingate. And one day, Joe, maybe I'll be known. I am the Deputy District Engineer for Programs and Project Management, long title. Work directly with Colonel Jones, administering the program here in New Orleans. Certainly want to introduce you all to the New Orleans District. It's an honor to have each of you here. I was asked to give you some insights on our program here at the New Orleans District, specifically for FY24. And as Dave has been talking about this morning, opportunities. And what I'm going to lay out to you is about $800 million opportunity. Okay, it's $800 million of program that we anticipate what I'm going to demonstrate here this morning. Now what's interesting is this is not everything I know that we will deliver in FY24. But it's what we at least know at this particular time that we thought would be appropriate for this particular audience. Okay, so you heard Colonel Jones mention heel to toe. And so what is he talking about heel to toe? If you're not familiar with the New Orleans District, you're not going to see that little green light there. But our district boundary, when you think about the New Orleans District, part of the Corps of Engineers, part of Mississippi Valley Division, we're actually one of the smaller districts in the Mississippi Valley Division. In fact, that's why I took this job, because I knew it would be a pretty easy job to do in New Orleans. I was wrong. It's a battle every day, but it's a wonderful battle just because of the great work we're doing for the state of Louisiana as well as the nation. But our district boundary essentially extends from the west around the Sabine, so it follows the watershed. It heads up north, it comes across around, if anyone's, for those local to Louisiana, Ellick. Okay, it essentially goes through the Red River around the city of Alexandria, and then it comes back down the Pearl on the east side of Louisiana. So again, a pretty small district footprint. One of the things that I'm most proud of in the New Orleans District is we have worked just about everywhere within the New Orleans District footprint. That's what this map is showing you in those colors. Those colors represent whether it's studies going on or construction projects going on. And they spread all the way from flood risk management projects, just like we're sitting here on the Mississippi River. So we have many levees within the New Orleans District. We have pump stations within the New Orleans District. We have control structures to maintain that flood risk management. We have the entire New Orleans HISDR system in this district as well. We do quite a bit of navigation work within the New Orleans District with our locks and our structures and our channels, and we mentioned dredging earlier. And then, of course, on the ecosystem restoration side, and certainly within our regulatory and our permitting program. You do see a couple areas that don't identify any color. Trust me, we're working that hard every day with our congressional representatives to get those areas colored as well. So whether it's Congressman Higgins or Congressman Scalise or Congressman Graves, to try to get studies and projects in those areas as well. Colonel mentioned we're sitting on about a $5+ billion program right now. We're about a 1 to 1.1. Colonel's looking at me. We're getting close. We got 30 days left in this fiscal year. We're going to be around $1.1 billion of delivery this year. Last year we were right around $1 billion as well. So we've been hitting about $1 billion plus every fiscal year in our particular program. So a robust portfolio. Again, I want to highlight a few opportunities that I see coming up in fiscal year 24. It will not be everything that we do in 24, but at least it gives you some of those early indicators. And again, continue to stay in touch, as Mr. Joe spoke about, through all those various tools, etc., on our program, and again, through David and through Ness. So, first project I want to highlight is a project just a little bit north of Baton Rouge. It's called the Comeet River Diversion Project. It's one of our flood risk management projects. I'm not going to go into a great deal into the project. That's not the intent of this particular slide, but it's about a 12-mile engineered channel that's going to take water off the Comeet River into the Mississippi River, and the water will then flow east to west. We've awarded a lot of work on the Comeet project. If you're familiar with it, you'll see a lot of progress on it. If you travel down Highway 61, we have five more remaining contracts that we will award in fiscal year 24. 5 more contracts. Totals about $300 million of work, and you can see those 5 particular contracts. And the way that I would summarize those contracts, earthwork, rock work. There is some structural work to do, especially on that bottom contract, our river diversion. That's a big control structure that will regulate the amount of flow into that channel. But again, a lot of good earthwork, rock work, stone work, as well as some structural work on the Comeet project. So please continue to monitor this. And as you can see here, this work's coming up pretty soon, second quarter of fiscal year 24. So that's December, January, and February. So it's right around the corner. So we'll be advertising that work here pretty soon. And you can see the cost ranges, and you can see a lot of that's going to go small business acquisition. Next particular project is West Shore Lake Pontchartrain. Very proud of this, proud of course all our work here, but this is going to provide risk reduction to 60,000 people in St. Charles, St. John, and St. James Parish that currently do not have that type of risk reduction in place. Devastated during Isaac, as well as other events, these folks really need this project. And we've got a lot of awards that we're going to make in 23, but I still have some awards to make in 24. And you can see those awards right there on this particular slide in the colors, and I'll highlight that just a little bit more on a similar looking spreadsheet here. So whether it's floodgates and levee work to do, So some structure work, some earthwork still left to do, pump stations and drainage structures. That also totals about $300 million of work right there. And again, that's going to be coming up around the January to March timeframe. So again, advertise soon. As Colonel Jones said, we need your help on the team to help us deliver this very important project for those residents in St. Charles, St. John, and St. James Parish. So certainly looking forward to seeing you all on our team to move that project forward. In addition to some of those larger flood risk management projects, wanted to highlight some of our smaller construction projects. And again, these smaller construction projects can pop up during the fiscal year, and we'll be advertising those projects as well. But wanted to highlight a few all the way out to our western side on the Calcasieu River, and then back closer to New Orleans, as well as some mitigation work. So again, just a rough graphic about where these projects are located. And here we go back again to this little spreadsheet here. On the Calcasieu River, we'll be doing some work on our dredge material management plan, whether that is primarily earthwork, maybe some rock work, just to refine those dikes around confined disposal areas to hold material in. But some good earthwork there, even some mitigation work out in the marsh and Fritchie in the New Orleans to Venice project, as well as some small dredging out by the port of New Orleans. That's by the Napoleon Wharf. That's about $60 million of opportunity right there. Okay, trying to help you out with the keeping the count going.
Thank you, sir.
Words of opportunity. We're sitting on the Mississippi River levee right now. You can see the new flood wall we've just built. We constantly are doing work on the Mississippi River levee. And so FY24 is no different. I've got 3 projects planned for FY24. You can see the approximate locations here. Again, there could be 1 or 2 more that will come up in FY24 as well. This is under our Mississippi River and Tributaries program. So again, continue to monitor the MR&T, Mississippi River and Tributaries. Not so much in FY24, but Mississippi River and Tributaries also covers the Atchafalaya Basin, where we're often doing, again, earthwork, levee slide work, some rock work, etc. Also under the Mississippi River and Tributaries program, if you all are tracking, is a small project, estimated probably around $6 to $7 billion, called Morganza to the Gulf. Okay, we have one of our early contracts coming up in FY24 for an area called Reach A. Reach A. So Morganza to the Gulf, 98-mile levee system, down in the Terrebonne Parish area, Homa, 200,000 people. Need this project in place. Need y'all's help to help deliver this program. A lot of earthwork, structure work, etc. But in FY24, the type of work that we're seeing coming up in the MR&T program. So again, Mississippi River levees, Atchafalaya levees, Morganza to the Gulf. In FY24, we're showing 3 jobs on the Mississippi River levees. You can see there we are looking at some MATOCs, but also small business. And in that Reach A component, which is a 5-mile earthen levee section in Terrebonne Parish, is headed towards small business. We're looking at about $35 million of opportunity in MRT. Yes, sir?
What's a MATOC?
That's a multiple award task order contract. So that's a contract we already have on board that we would execute some of that work under. Thank you. In addition to our construction projects, of course, we have a very large operation and maintenance program. So certainly wanted to share some of those insights with you. And again, please continue to monitor all our websites, et cetera, because this type of work certainly can vary based upon our FY24 appropriations and what Congress and administration pass. And so this can certainly change from time to time. So as I mentioned earlier, within the New Orleans District, we have a number of locks and structures on our navigation mission. So we're constantly having to do work on those projects, whether it's painting or grass cutting or cleaning or major gate rehab, whether it's Bonnie Carey or the Morganza control structure at Old River, or even some of our smaller locks that you can only access by boat. Okay, and so I'm showing you a couple ideas here, whether it's the Algiers lock in the New Orleans area, all the way out west to the Calcasieu lock, as well as to the saltwater barrier in Calcasieu as well. And so again, similar chart, just showing you those upcoming operations and maintenance jobs being planned, whether it's major maintenance on the Calcasieu lock, to some of the work on some of our sector gates, or some piling work on our Dolphins, lock repairs at Algiers lock. Right there, we're looking at about $50 million of opportunity. And then again, some more work out west at our schooner control structure, some machinery work or elevating warehouses, all the way to Freshwater Bayou, again, some rock work, as well as some concrete work and warehouse work. So again, please stay tuned to these opportunities. Again, that's about $30 million of work. Now, one project, or I guess one area that I also want to discuss, in addition to about the $5 billion program that we have here in New Orleans, just because it's so large, we capitalize on the resources within the Mississippi Valley Division, all the way up to St. Paul, Minnesota. And so we have 5 other districts, 5 other district commanders that help deliver our program. And that's to the tune of about $1.2 billion plus. And I suspect that much of that work, while it might be led and planned and designed out of those districts, will be awarded out of New Orleans. One particular program that I want to mention that's got a lot of attention as of late, and I see this program growing, is what we call our non-structural program. Historically, when the Corps of Engineers nationwide would look at flood risk management projects, ultimately the solution was large levees and pumps. But as we build out those types of projects and programs in populated areas, what do we do for those areas that aren't so populated? What the solution appears to be is raising homes or flood-proofing businesses, maybe putting an impermeable membrane around a warehouse or a structure, or maybe a small earthen levee around those structures. But for residential, we'll elevate them. It's unprecedented out in southwest Louisiana. We have the authority to elevate 4,000 structures just in southwest Louisiana, Calcasieu, Cameron, and Vermilion parishes. We've received $300 million to begin that effort. We're probably going to elevate somewhere around 750 to 1,000 homes. And we're going to start with a pilot of around 24 structures right now. And we'll be making that award sometime early next calendar year. So January is our target to make that first award, but then there's going to be multiple awards following that to raise structures in southwest Louisiana. Now, if that's not exciting enough with the 4,000 structures, we've got about 4 or 5 other studies. If we think to that heel-to-toe map with all those colors, St. Tammany Parish, in the Amite River Basin, Tangipahoa, in South Central. Now we've got a study we're kicking off in the town of Lafitte. We're looking at potentially having a portfolio of elevating structures in the tune of about 20,000 structures. 20,000, okay? One of the nice things here is if you're familiar with the FEMA program, the HMGP program, or the FMA program, when those programs, and they were very good, but they often require a cost share from the homeowner. What we've done is we've partnered with the state of Louisiana, and so the state of Louisiana is actually bringing that cost share, and the federal government will bring the other cost share, which is 65%. So there's really no cost to the homeowner. So I'd expect our participation rates to be high. So when I say 20,000 structures to raise, I don't think that's that robust of an idea. I think that ultimately will happen in the coming years. So a lot of work in that particular business line. So certainly didn't have that on a graphic, but certainly wanted to mention that to you. And with that, we've got, of course, all the websites that you're probably familiar with that Mr. Joe spoke about. Please go to these websites. Keep in touch. This will change. I would expect more opportunities to present themselves in FY24. Thank you so much. Appreciate the time.
Thank you, Mr. Wingate, for those encouraging opportunities. There, the word opportunity, opportunity, opportunity. Okay, who's keeping track? What are you up to right now? What's the word?
33.
33, all right. But Mr. Wingate gave you how many in one speech? Something like $1.2. Every dollar is an opportunity, right? Now, don't be fearful of those ranges on it. If you can't perform in that range, there's other ways to make that happen. Joint venture, subcontracting opportunities. As I said in other speeches, get your piece of the action. You know, what can I bring to that location? What can I bring to that contract? How can I do it? I look at the lady here from the German place of cleaning. So I think you've got an insight of what you can bring to whoever wins that contract, right? You can't perform the construction piece of it, Be a subcontractor, or level 1, tier 1, 2, whatever it takes. Get your piece of these dollars. They're out there. They're opportunity. And with that being said, I'd like to introduce Ms. JoAnn Lawrence, a great advocate and friend of the Corps, and we've been doing business a long time together. Ms. Lawrence.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much, Dave, and thank you, Nez, and to Colonel Jones and our good friend Joe Radzievich and Mr. Wingate. Thank you so much. And we're talking about opportunity, but also I want to just share what SBA can assist you in doing once you get the opportunity. Okay, so you get the contract, you gotta have money, right, to fund it. So we're gonna talk about that. But this is our mission and our purpose, and just remember that we're here to support you, and as Congressman Carter mentioned, providing resources and hands-on support. So with that hands-on support, how many of you have attended some of our hands-on workshops that we do, that we've done for SAM, that we've done for all of our certifications? Thank you so much. We do that, and we do it on a regular basis. We have our financial assistance programs, which is where our loan programs come in, but also our non-financial assistance programs, where we assist you in taking advantage of the $600 billion market that the government spends each year. So with our access to capital, we're able to guarantee loans on your behalf. So what does that guarantee do for you? Actually, it gives the lender a comfort level to make that loan to you in the event they look at you as a high risk. So if we have a loan up to $150,000, SBA can guarantee 85% of that. And if the loan is over that amount, we can guarantee 75%. Now, I don't want you to think that just because we're guaranteeing this loan, that you're going to be off the hook if you default. Okay, there's one government. Where does the money come from? Treasury, okay? Treasury's going to get their money back. They gave us the money to loan to you. That's something on which Congressman Carter has worked to help to increase the budget for us to be able to guarantee those loans for you. So with under our 7A loan program, and that just has reference to Section 7A of the Small Business Act, that enables us to be able to provide that capital to you. If you have a need for real estate, you own the land, you want to construct a building, or you want to purchase land and building for owner occupying, where you're going to operate your business, the best program for you is the 504 loan program. How many of you have a loan now with a lender and your interest rate keeps going up? All right, sorry we can't do anything about that, except that if it involves real estate, your lender can use our 504 program to refinance that loan, and you get a fixed rate. Prior to just a few months ago, that fixed rate was at 4% under that 504 loan program. Now it's at 6%. So if you have a loan with a lender and it involves real estate, talk to them about doing a 504 refi. Our lender relations specialists have been going out, meeting with the lenders, training them on how to do that. But that's a way to help you as we work through the situation with which we're having to deal with the increase in the interest rates. How many of you have taken advantage of the disaster assistance loan program? Remember, it's a loan. It's not going to be forgiven. Do not listen to the they committee. Who knows what the they committee is? The they committee are those who say it's going to be forgiven, You don't have to pay it. SBA can't do anything about it. Where'd the money come from? Treasury. Treasury is going to collect. So just remember that it is a loan that has to be repaid. Now I almost clapped when Mr. Wingate mentioned about the risk reduction that's going to be done for St. John and St. Charles Parish and St. James Parish, because we know that those parishes flood every time there's a disaster. And what you're doing down in Terrebonne Parish, and what you're going to do over in Calcasieu, Cameron, and Vermilion parishes, because we know that those are areas that are always hard hit. So since I couldn't clap now, and I have the stage, I am going to clap now. Because we've made so many disaster loans over there for people who have suffered, and it keeps happening to them. So thank you so much. The maximum loan that we can make is $5 million. Our exposure cannot exceed $3.75 million. And the proceeds can be used for anything related to your business. If you need to restructure a loan, or you may refer to it as refinance, we can restructure a loan for you under our SBA loan guarantee programs. So getting to opportunities under the federal government's marketplace. Our role is to work with the federal agencies to assist them in awarding contracts to the small business community. I like seeing small business set-asides on the slides, right? Because that means that we know that the Corps of Engineers is working hard to ensure that they're narrowing that playing field for you so that you're only competing against like businesses like you. So if you're a small business, then you know you're only competing against another small business. We're talking about construction projects. SBA has the Surety Bond Guarantee Program where we can guarantee bonds on your behalf. And we put some measures in place to streamline that process to make it easier for you to get the bonding that you need, so that that's not something that keeps you from performing on that contract. We are in the process of awarding some additional 7J contracts, and that's our management and technical assistance contracts, going back to that hands-on support that SBA offers. And so we'll have a 7J contractor who will be able to work one-on-one with you at no cost to you through our 7J program. We still have our small business development centers who can assist you. Another resource, our Women's Business Resource Center that's managed by the Urban League of Louisiana. And they have a construction division, a division of entrepreneurship where they can work with you as a small business. Our community navigators, the Urban League is also a community navigator, and we also have the New Orleans Regional Black Chamber, that's a community navigator. The Louisiana Chamber of Commerce Foundation is a community navigator, and the Iberia Industrial District Foundation over in New Iberia is a community navigator. Another resource that's available to assist you by providing business development assistance to you. Of course, with our certifications. We handle all of them now, even the veteran-owned small business certification. Joe talked a lot about the 8A program, but don't forget about the Hub Zone program, historically underutilized business zone. Check the map, because we have some recent updates, to see if you're in a Hub Zone and apply for a Hub Zone certification. The Hub Zone program has been in place since 1997. There's a 3% goal. We have yet to meet that goal. We've come close, maybe 2.67%. We don't round up, it's still not 3%. Please check your address to see if you are in a hub zone. Now, I must say that thanks to the relationship that we have with the federal agencies here in Louisiana, we always exceed all of our goals. Small disadvantaged business, 8A, hub zone, and woman-owned. But on a national level, we have not done that well. So with our 8A program, that is a business development program. So you get the opportunity to work with our business opportunity specialists, and we have Alec Banks and Gail Brogan who are here. Our BOS's wave guys, so they don't know who you all are. Okay. And then we have Elaine Bailey, our outreach and marketing specialist. More hands-on support for you. It's an electronic application, and we do hands-on workshops to make it easy for you. How many of you work on the internet and you get caught up in a loop and you get frustrated and you want to just throw in the towel? Well, that's why we do those hands-on workshops, to make it easier for you to get through the process. Unfortunately, as Joe mentioned, right now, accepting and processing new 8A applications is on pause. However, we expect to resume that process shortly, as soon as we work out the policy and get some updated information on the 8A site. But this is what we can do under the 8A program. Award sole source contracts up to $4.5 million for services, construction and supplies, and $7 million for manufacturing. And we can also accept contracts above that amount for 8A competition. So if you are in services or construction, if it exceeds 4.5, then we accept it for competition. If it's over 7 million for manufacturing, we can accept it for competition. But keep in mind, you're only competing against other 8A firms. For the 8A program, we are in business. We are open for business. We have a process in place to confirm and affirm the social disadvantage for our firms that are in the program. So we have updated our acceptance letters for the contracting officers, where we specifically state that SBA affirms that this is a socially disadvantaged firm. So we're doing that process during the accepting and processing of new offers. And for those offers where we've already accepted them and the agency is ready to make that award, then we provide that affirmation to the contracting officer so that they can move on with that award. We have a tiger team in place of approximately 51 analysts who are working on these social disadvantage narratives on a regular basis, daily. Every day, we are updating that list of firms that's posted in max.gov. So that would apply to those individuals who are not tribally owned. So that means that those who were approved under the rebuttable social disadvantage status, we're doing that for them. But guess what? We only have to do it once. So we got ahead of the game in New Orleans. We started our 8A firms to working on their social disadvantage status well in advance of headquarters coming out. Get it ready so that when we get that offer, you get that request from Certified, you're able to upload it, your document is there, and the Tiger team can work on it to get so that we can get an answer back to the contracting officers within the specified time frame. So as I mentioned, with the Hub Zone program, we need more firms certified Hub Zone. This program is race and gender neutral. You have to be located in the Hub Zone, 35% of your employees reside in the Hub Zone, and 51% of the company must be owned by U.S. citizens. So there are basically three parties. You as the firm that's located in this area where it's high unemployment and low income individuals, the federal agencies who are offering the contracts or setting them aside for HubZone, but also the community itself, because it's intended to encourage investment in those distressed communities. So I already talked about the eligibility criteria, our Women on Small Business Program. We've been going through some updates with the Women on Small Business Program and the Beta Certified website. Right now, we're at approximately 120 days for processing the Women on Small Business applications. So if you submitted your application on August 20th, there's nothing I can do to ask I can ask, we can always ask, right? But there's nothing I can do to push your application up if it's a woman on small business. It's because someone called Monday and said, I set up a Zoom session with them to talk to them so that they could tell me they submitted their application on August 20th. And I was gonna call headquarters and ask them to move that application up. Now I love what I do. Can't y'all tell that? I've been with the agency 49 years because I started when I was 2. Okay? I can't do that. Okay? So what our staff and headquarters say, Joe, if they haven't heard anything in 120 days, call me on the 121st day. And we'll see if it's stuck somewhere. And I can do that, and they'll look at it. But it is for women owned small businesses. The company has to be for 51% owned, controlled, and managed by a woman or women who devote full time to the business during normal business hours. For economically disadvantaged, the same thing applies, except that we look at your economic status, like your adjusted personal net worth, your adjusted gross income, and your total assets. So that's the basic eligibility criteria. This is a summary of how that works. So with the woman owned small business, we have to make sure that the women are in control of the company and they have the expertise and know-how to operate the company, that they are the highest compensated, and that they have the required licenses or permits. And there is no length of time in business for this program. We took over certification for our veterans on January 1st, 2023. The average processing time for our vet cert program is less than 30 days. That's because we were grateful that the staff that worked for the VA, who were processing these applications, loved SVA so much they came over and worked for us. We know really they wanted to keep a job, but we're grateful because that has us less than 30 days. The average processing time is about 27 days for a veteran-owned certification. So if you are a veteran, for those of you who stood, and your business owners, if you have not gotten your veteran certification, please go to the VetServe website and apply. And of course, whenever you look at any of these certifications, it's always going to be that 51% ownership, and we're also looking at the control and management of the company. This is why these certifications matter. If we're able to get firms certified, we're able to help the federal agencies meet their goals. For fiscal year 2023, the small business goal is 23%. By 2025, that goal is going to be 25%. And we've exceeded that goal for the past few years. For the small disadvantaged business, the goal is 12%. That's up from 5% that we've had for decades since Public Law 95-507. It's been 5%, right? But we're at 12%. That's going to go up to 15% by 2025. Our service disabled veteran goal is 3%, woman-owned small business 5%, hub zone 3%. We've only met our woman-owned small business goal on a national level once since the program has been in existence. This gives you an idea of our achievements on a national level. And notice what we did with small business for fiscal year 2022. 26.5% to small businesses for almost $163 billion. We want all of you to be a part of those contract awards. And you can see that we did not achieve the woman-owned small business goal. We did almost 4.6, but like I said, we don't round up. And these are our numbers for Louisiana. So when I hear 1.1 billion that is proposed for USACE New Orleans, I am so excited because I know that a significant portion of that is going to go to small businesses. But for Louisiana, our numbers were a little over $2,767,000,000, and of that, almost 60% went to small businesses. For our 8A program, 11%, and most of that was awarded on a sole source basis. We do competition, but most of that was awarded on a sole source basis. But as I mentioned, you can see that we exceed all of our socioeconomic goals annually, and we've done that for the past several years. So I want to thank you for your attention. I'll be around after lunch, and this is my contact information. Generally, the best way to get me is via email. You'll notice that I have my cell there because you can call me, or you can text me, or if you email me, I can respond to you from my phone. Notice also, my office line is there. Guess where I am today? Not in the office. So I don't always get to listen to voicemail, all right? So please don't call Mr. Ricks and say, I called you and she didn't call me back. That's why I'm asking you to call me on my cell, or email or text me, and I'll get back to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Lawrence, for those inspiring words, as well as many ways to get into the contract in the federal government. As you saw, moving up, getting those certifications helps the district. The Colonel talked about meeting and being prepared, those opportunities out there. This is one way you can make that happen. Yes, we have goals with it, and we have some of the highest goals in all of USACE. So help Mr. Wingate along with those goals as well. Help our Colonel along with those goals, because he gets to answer all the questions of when we miss it and make it. And we're proud of the awards we have made and helping the SBA make theirs. We are a big contributor to theirs. And with further ado, we will introduce Ms. Cindy Carrier with Apex Accelerator.
Thank you, everyone, and I am well aware that I am the last speaker before your break. I am well aware that I'm not Beyonce or Oprah. I am so scared that I will not be as entertaining as Mr. I'm not even going to try to say it, because y'all can see I have a high-pitched, twangy voice, and I hail from Pumpkin Center, Louisiana, right? So I am going to just say Mr. Joe, right? And then I don't have the money the Corps has, and Mr. Wingate talked about. And I have not been with my agency for 42 years like Joe has, but this is what I do know. Apex can be your BFF, your best friend, hopefully forever if Congress continues to fund us. So look at your neighbor and say, Apex is BFF, right? So I do want to thank the Corps and everyone for inviting us here and letting us have the opportunity, here's the word, opportunity, to tell you a little bit about us, but more importantly, how we can help you, because that's our passion. Uh-oh. There we go. So, the Louisiana Apex Accelerator. You've heard Joe and other speakers mention it today. We used to be PTAC, Procurement Technical Assistance Center. But on October of 2022, we transitioned to Department of Defense from DLA. And they were like, what does PTAC do? We don't understand. And so what they did is they rebranded us to Apex Accelerator. And Apex does not stand for anything. It is not an acronym. What the Office of Small Business Programs, Mr. Farouk Mitha, says is Apex is a destination. It is our job to help you accelerate to wherever it is that you want to go. So here's our mission. I'm going to read it to you. It says, to service the access for existing and new Louisiana-based businesses, and we're all about Louisiana-based, but there are 96 Apex accelerators all across the United States and in Puerto Rico, Guam, and the Virgin Islands. I'm kind of jealous of Frank Dixon in the Virgin Islands, but anyway, it is our mission to strengthen the defense industrial base by accelerating, there it is, innovation, fostering ingenuity, and establishing resilient and diverse supply chains. We all know we have issues right now with our supply chains. To this end, we assist local Louisiana businesses in selling their products and services to all branches and levels of the government, creating and retaining jobs, and strengthening the local economy. So that's our mission. But practically, what is it that we do? What do I want you to take away from today? We assist Louisiana-based businesses with all things government contracting related, all things. Now, I'm not gonna say we're the subject matter experts in everything, but as your BFF, when you call us, you email us, you text us, you track us down in Rouse's, okay, we are gonna get you the answer. And that, we assist you in selling to the government, but we also assist you in selling to the large prime contractors because they too have goals, just like the government with small businesses. We provide all government contracting counseling to small, medium, or large size Louisiana businesses. So, what can we do to help large business? Textron is one of our clients. On the way here, I got a call, and I said, Dennis Berg said, Cindy, I want you to bring your entire team over to meet with us. And here's what I want to do. Bring in the procurement because I want them to know about you. But I want you to train them on DSBS, Federal Procurement Data System. And then I said, we can do that. I can't do it in September, but we can definitely do it in October. And we've been working with Richard Ledette because his mission in the technical side is to get subcontractors in Louisiana. Yes, in Louisiana. What he told me was, we don't want to continue going to Detroit for our businesses. We should be able to find Louisiana companies that can help Textron. We're in Slidell, we're in New Orleans. And I said, we want to help you do that. We are absolutely free. There is no charge for our services. The reason is we have a cooperative agreement. It's different than the contracts that we're going to be helping you with, in that we have to have a cost match for Department of Defense to fund us to help you. And so what that means is Department of Defense funds our program 65%, and then the University of Louisiana, which is our headquarters, and the state of Louisiana, specifically through Louisiana Economic Development, provides a cost match of 35%. So that is why we're free to help you with all your government contracting needs and especially those opportunities. So who do we serve? We serve for-profit companies in our service area. Now we're known as a statewide program with Department of Defense, but I don't cover the whole state. So we have a regional program that covers the 10 most northern parishes in Louisiana, and that is headed up by Dr. Gail Flowers. So if you were to contact me or any of my staff, they would say, you're not in our service area, but we have an excellent relationship and you have excellent opportunities to work with the Shreveport Apex Accelerator. We serve government and industry buying agencies. We get calls all the time. Can you find us specific companies under this NAICS? Remember, Joe talked about know your NAICS. We have an opportunity at Arctic Works in Vicksburg, and I'm like, I'm reading it. I am a blonde, you know, from Puckett Center. I don't understand what you're asking me to find. Can you tell me keywords? Can you tell me keyword phrases? But specifically, can you tell me NAICS codes? So we help all government agencies and industry buying agencies. Here's our recent statistics. So you can read those. So turn to your neighbor and say, wow. Okay. This is the one that we share with Congress. We have a national association. I'm actually on the board for Region 8. And I always say our Region 8 is great, okay? I serve 11 program managers under me, and they hail from the great states of Arkansas, Oklahoma, New Mexico, and Texas. And Texas is big, y'all. And those program managers keep me busy, okay? But, so I serve as the Region 8 board director. And right now, nationally, we're still known as ABTAC. And we're trying to figure out whether we are going to change our name on the national level and present ourselves to Congress when we give them these statistics right as ABTAC or something else. But if you say Association of Apex, that's AA. Okay. I don't really want to be known as 8A, but can I share a joke with y'all? Okay. So, if you are a startup business, we say go see the Small Business Development Center. And if you need help remembering that acronym, it could be, because of all the stress you're under, the Small Business Drinking Club. Okay? And then when you get finished with the SBA and you've got your business all legal to do business with the government, go over and see AA, the Apex Accelerators. Okay, so how can we support you? Here's just some of the things that we do. The ticket here is just call and ask. I've got Colleen Broussard-Perry with me today. Colleen, wave. Colleen is our counselor for the New Orleans and the surrounding parishes. But the way we're organized is we have counselors that cover all our 54 parishes. So wherever your business is headquartered in, you have a counselor that can meet with you one-on-one to page roll a solicitation, if that is necessary, to look closely and take a deeper dive with the SBA certifications and the state of Louisiana certifications. So, we help you determine your suitability for contracting. Remember what Joe talked about, all the protocols and the speaking to the government agencies in their language. We help with all that. Securing the necessary registrations, there's 2. Louisiana, in Louisiana, it's LaGov, and then at the federal level, you heard Joe and both Joes, we've got 2 Joes here today, both Joes talk about SAM. System for awards management. It is complicated. It is confusing. So what we do is we have at the Louisiana Apex Accelerator someone who is going to actually walk you through question by question until you get that SAM registration. Certification assistance, marketing. It's beneficial for you to know who do you need to market to. At the federal agency level and the state and the local, who is it that actually buys what it is that you provide? Researching procurement histories. It's very helpful for you to know, what did the government pay last time for this product or service? If we can tell you that, usually those companies that we're meeting with can say, I can knock this out of the ballpark and I can make money at it. So that's the importance of the procurement histories. Networking is so very important to network. Gosh, was it last week, Laci, we were in Tunica, Biloxi, because we have an MOU, and Tunica, Biloxi Industries, or the Tunica, Biloxi Tribe, is one of Louisiana Apex clients. And we had a fabulous networking event. The reason that I say Apex can be your BFF is because at that event, I witnessed something as a program manager that I loved to see. And that was my counselors, Jen, Hannah, Peggy, Colleen. We were missing Diana, she didn't get to join us. But when they saw their clients, it was a family reunion. It was hugging. It was like, wow, you know, I've been seeing you on Zoom, or I've been talking to you, but now I get to see you face to face. Because my counselors help. That is their passion. They want to help you with whatever it is you need assistance with. Identifying bid opportunities. And that is all opportunities, local, state, and federal bidding opportunities for you. We guide you with proposal preparation. That is the one that takes a lot of time, okay? And then resolving contract performance and payment issues. If there is a contract performance issue, you need to work with your contracting officer on that. Contact your Apex counselor, and we will help you work with a contracting officer when there is an issue. And issues crop up in the real world. If there is a payment issue, we can get involved with where is the bottleneck. The last one that I worked on was a catering contract, and the bottleneck was, it was in wide area workflow, IRAP, and the company had completed everything, but the contracting officer just simply did not check off one box that needed to be checked off. So it was bottlenecked. We can advise in audit preparation, if you hear that nasty word, audit. We can help you with that. We can say this is the things they're going to be looking at when they show up. Let's do a dry run. Let's make sure you're going to do well in your audit. And then research and development programs. If you're into R&D in any respect, give us a call and we can help you with that process as well. Okay, I'm not going to beat this one to death because we've talked about it, but like I said, we help with SAM, and the way that we do that is you set up an appointment with Diane Romero over the phone or over Zoom, and she walks question by question by question with you. If you're trying to register for the first time or if you're renewing your registration. Okay, here's all the certifications that Joe talked about, with the exception of 2 that we assist with. Joe and I have always worked together very closely with all of the SBA certification programs, doing lots and lots of training events, the certification, hands-on certification months, that kind of thing. Since we have transferred to DOD, they are saying, hey Apex, we want you to take a deeper dive. We want you to not just do the training workshops, but also work closely with companies in Louisiana and all over the nation with their application. So we've been trying to do that more, and Joe has helped us with training our counselors. When we assist with any of the certifications, there's a form we're gonna sign that basically says we assisted you, Apex assisted you, or an email, and that is supposed to get some things expedited, just because it shows that you had another set of hands, another set of eyeballs that looked at the certification. And if anything comes up, you know, we're not the experts there, so we definitely contact SBA to help us with those certifications. The DOD, the DBE certification, we assist with that. That applies to women-owned small businesses and small disadvantaged businesses. So every certification is a little bit different, so that's why my counselors are real busy trying to help companies understand even eligibility requirements. And then LED, Louisiana Economic Development. At the state level, the certifications are Small Emerging Business Development, the Louisiana Hudson Initiative, and the Louisiana Veteran. So your Apex counselor will help with all of these certifications. So we've already talked about that. Actually, Mr. Joe did. Understanding purchasing protocol. You need to speak in the way that the government speaks, right? If you are going to be a successful government contractor. So they're going to be talking in natives. They're going to be saying things like, do you have a GSA schedule, right? So we can help you with your marketing efforts when you go to speak, or put together that first initial email. Or you go to a networking event and you're talking to a government buyer. Okay, locating bids. We talked about helping you find the opportunities. I'm trying, Dave. I'm trying to make you proud. Find the opportunities. Okay, how we do that practically is we search over 3,500 websites every day for your company. Now, what we do, we're not pouring over 3,500 websites. I pay a programmer to do this for me, and he sorts through what you've told us you want us to look for in bidding opportunities. If you want to see everything the Corps is putting out in New Orleans, okay, we can forward that directly to you in your email box every day. If you say, hey Cindy, there's a county in Mississippi that I really want to see the bid leads that say janitorial services, okay, or germ sanitation, I remember, okay, we can do that. I can't do it, I'm not smart enough. So I pay this person to do this, write these programs and do the match and send those to your email every day. So that's how we help match you with as many opportunities as we can match you. Okay, so then proposal preparation navigation. What we can do, and what I tell my counselors to do, is make sure your Louisiana companies are reading the solicitation. I was a contracting officer for General Dynamics, and I can promise you that the buyers are going to incorporate one sentence, and the sentence says, incorporated by reference solicitation RFP 132XYZ72, okay? That one little statement means everything in that bid package or that solicitation is now a part of your contract. So what my counselors do is they will say, did you read the solicitation? Read the solicitation, and as you are going through it, mark it up. And just put, some of you are shaking your hand and grinning because you've heard this spiel before, right? Mark it up with any questions that you have, just a big question mark, right? Any red flags, like, I don't really understand this. What does this mean? I'm reading it, I don't understand it, okay? Mark that. So that's gonna be a red flag. Another red flag is, wait a minute, I have a service or a product that would be better and more cost effective, but the government isn't asking for that. Do I have to provide to them exactly what they're asking for, or would they entertain my product or service? Those are all red flags. So then you call the Apex counselor and you say, I've read the solicitation, I've marked it up with my questions, my red flags, my areas of concern. Then the Apex counselor is gonna meet with you, okay? And they're gonna first go over all the government forms and make sure that you have completed those appropriately, okay, and correctly. Why are those government forms so very important? So, when I was hired on to General Dynamics, okay, again, hailing from Pumpkin Center, right? At the time I was working for the Small Business Development Center, so that's why I love SBA and SBDCs. And so I go to General Dynamics, and we look like a bunch of hillbillies. You know, I had a 9-month-old, and so I took my mama, my daddy, and my brother to watch my 9-month-old, okay? Because I didn't know anybody in San Diego, California, right? So I get there, and they said, okay, rookie contracting officer, we're gonna teach you 2 words. I'm like, okay, what are they? They are responsive and responsible. Responsive and responsible. So when you call the Apex counselors and you say, help me with the solicitation, I promise you they're looking to see if you are responsive and responsible. Responsive just means you completed all of the government forms correctly. You've crossed your T's, you've dotted your I's, and if they said we want all your resumes, you provided that. So you're responsive. Responsible goes into things like your past performance that Mr. Joe was talking about earlier. Okay, contract performance and payment issues. Sometimes there are gonna be problems that arise. We can help with those. We are kind of the middleman or middlewoman between the government and the Louisiana small business. With payment issues, I've already given an example of that. At the state level, that came up. There was a payment issue, and all I really had to say was, it's a small business, they've done their job, they haven't been paid, and it's been more than 45 days. And they got the check, okay? So, we can help with those types of things. We've talked about networking, like we're gonna be doing today, Nez, from 1 to 3, right? We're gonna be networking. So I see some familiar faces that I have not seen in a long time, Jay. So come by our booth, because I kind of want to hug some of y'all, okay? All right. Here are all the training opportunities that we will provide and the workshops. If something triggers your interest or you have a need, we can counsel you one-on-one in any of these topics, okay? I submitted a proposal to Department of Defense probably 9-10 months ago, and I included this, and I got a call, and it said, the contracting officer reviewed and said, what is lanyap? I'm like, we're from Louisiana, and lanyap is a little something extra. So what we do in Louisiana is we do all the government contracting stuff, plus we offer a little lanyap. Okay, it's very, very easy to become a Apex client. How many are you already? I didn't see everybody's hands. Yes, so we have a lot. Cullen, we're gonna be busy today, just hugging and communicating. Yeah. Okay, it's gonna be a fun afternoon. Now, how many of you are not Apex Accelerator clients? Awesome, awesome. So, Stop by, but all you have, our booth, but all you have to do is call this 800 number, or here is our application on the web. Very, very quick, very, very easy, basically your contact information and what it is you're most interested in providing to the government. Okay, so now let's talk about the changes from DLA to DOD. So, we are changing. We're in the middle of transition and we are changing, but we offer the absolute same services that we always have. The difference is, previously under DLA, we only had 3 goals: the number of new clients, the number of counseling hours, and the number of training events. Louisiana Apex now has 7 goals. So, real quickly, cultivate the DIB and GIB. That's the Defense Industrial Base and the Government Industrial Base. Why? Because our industrial base has shrunk by 40%. So we're supposed to cultivate that and grow that. Increase equity and inclusion. Increase awareness of and compliance with FOCI. That's foreign ownership, control, and influence. All I really want you to remember is if you hear FOCI, call your Apex counselor, okay? Improve cybersecurity. So if you see a clause in your contract that has anything to do with cybersecurity, our Apex counselors can help you with that, and we have a subject matter expert on board, Jen Richard, that is working very closely with Project Spectrum, who is the DoD contractor for all things cybersecurity and CMMC certification related. We facilitate innovation. That is SBIR and STTR, research and development opportunities. We strengthen the supply chain. How? Identifying new companies that can do business with the government, okay? And trying to work out issues and problems that those suppliers are having. Capture market data in key industries. All right, so that's a little bit about Apex. Stop by the booth and see us. Here's the contact information for us, and we look forward to helping you with all your government contracting needs and opportunities.
Thank you, Ms. Carrier. A wealth of information. If you didn't get an opportunity to figure that out, mark that down as opportunity, not as what can I get out of the government? What can the government provide for you? How do you get to the next step on that ladder of success? Sitting right there. Help yourself. All right, we're going to take a little break. Okay, if everybody take their seat, please. We'll get started for the main portion of the potatoes and the meat of this whole production. What you really came for. That nasty word, opportunity. Not beyond just what the New Orleans District has, you've already seen. Hope that was a nice tease or an appetizer for you. Now, what beyond the New Orleans area? All right, that's coming out, show. But before that, we want to switch to our state partner, Ms. Laci Melancon from Louisiana Coastal Technical Assistance. Ms. Melancon.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. So for those of you who do not know me, I am not Beyonce or Oprah either. But you can consider our program kind of the backup singer. So Cynthia provided you with a lot of information with regards to what Apex Accelerators do. We do not duplicate those services. We just provide the backup singing with what we do at the Coastal Technical Assistance Center. So basically, we're a program supported by Louisiana Economic Development as well as the Coastal Protection and Restoration Authority, and we exist for the sole purpose of assisting Louisiana-based businesses that are interested in obtaining contracts on coastal protection and restoration project awards. So Apex will still do what they do. Ms. JoAnn with the SBA still are the experts in their area. We just provide additional assistance for those companies looking to work specifically in coastal protection and restoration. So how do we do that, and why do we do that? You heard Colonel Jones this morning talk about $1 billion just within the CPRA master plan. They looking to spend approximately $1 billion a year. So we want to keep that money here in the state supporting our businesses and our economy. So we are located in Thibodaux, Louisiana on the Nicholls State University campus. However, we are a statewide program. All of our services are offered online. We have Zoom calls with you. We will do webinars. We co-host a lot of webinars with our partner organizations such as the Army Corps, CPRA, Apex Accelerators, to provide you with all the information you need to be successful in this area. So you don't have to step foot in our office. And kind of like Ms. JoAnn said, where am I today? I'm here. So we're out and about meeting with people like you in these businesses to support these services. So as far as our services, and it looks like a few of them were cut off there because I do know how to count, last I checked. Oh, they're all there, they're just not in a row. So with regards to our services, we are here to be a centralized resource center. So you got a lot of information this morning, SBA certifications, Apex trainings, all of these things. Guess what? We put all of that in one place, on our website, on our app, which I'll get to shortly. So one of the biggest things businesses gave us feedback on is we have to open up 10 different sites to find out what is all happening with regards to these coastal projects and events happening throughout the state and certifications and things to help businesses. So we funnel that and put it all in one place for you. So you have to open up our site and it's there. Our business services, we work with our businesses. We co-host matchmaking events. We attend events like these to assist providing opportunities for networking. That's what we like to do. I like to reference our program as kind of a dating service. We match you up with other businesses, whether it's prime contractors and subcontractors, or whether you just need a contact with an organization that has these coastal projects available, whether it's through the Army Corps, whether it's through CPRA, local governmental agencies, levee districts, ports. If it's coastal protection or restoration work, we'll put you in contact with someone that you need to speak with. With regards to our workforce development services, we work with our partner community colleges and universities and technical schools throughout the state to try to address workforce issues with regards to if your company needs to hire more people in a certain area, we'll relay that to our partner organizations and make sure that there's training opportunities in the state so that we can get trained employees stepping into your companies and working much quicker. And then with regards to our trainings and certifications, we aren't currently offering that right now, but we are looking to put in place a CTAC certification that would get a stamp of approval somewhere. I don't know how that's gonna work yet. It's a dream of mine. It will happen one day, but just know that that's to come. So just a few screenshots of what we offer on our website. Like I said, we take all the coastal events, all the projects, and put them all in one place for you. So I have a staff member that spends probably 8 to 12 hours every week, 2 to 3 times a week, going through all the multiple websites and finding all of these projects and putting it all in one place. So it's all here for you. I'll get to the app in a minute, but if you have our app, you can download push notifications. So on the mornings we post these projects, you'll get a notification on your app saying new projects are posted. So we try to make it as easy for you as possible to be notified of all of these things happening throughout the state. Our events page, I kind of referenced before, but again, if Ms. JoAnn's offering a webinar on a particular certification for woman-owned business, or Apex Accelerators is offering their new client orientation, we funnel that all through our website, again, to try to eliminate you spending so much time on looking for all of these resources that's available in the state. We also post volunteer opportunities, which is a great way to connect with people working in the coastal space, and lots of other events. We have resources on our website, and this is a great resource if you are ever looking to work with CPRA or even the Army Corps. A lot of these coastal projects, the funding drives the procurement process. So with regards to that, we provide resources on navigating through that process. We send out a monthly newsletter. We don't deliver necessarily like Apex Accelerator will deliver to your inbox. We don't deliver projects to your inbox every morning because we only post about 20 to 30 projects a month on our webpage, but we will send out a monthly newsletter updating you with what's going on throughout the state. Mr. Dave Willis has been great with keeping us posted with new opportunities coming down the pipeline to make sure that our clients can get notified immediately. So we recently launched our app, and basically, like I said, it'll provide you push notifications of when these projects are posted. We update them 2 to 3 times a week. So you can get that notification on your app. You can request to work with other companies. If you are a CTAC client, you can click on request a report and you say, I want to work with this type of company. We get the report and we try to match you with other CTAC clients with respect to what you're looking to work for or work with. Request presentations, reports, we have the events section, and only CTAC clients have access to all of that information. Anybody can download the app, but if you're a partner organization or not a CTAC client, you'll have very limited access to what information you'll receive on the app. So if anyone wants to scan and download the app, there's a QR code to do so. Please know that we have to go in behind the scenes in our system to assign you a user role, so it's not just a download the app and you log in and get in immediately. We have to give you access, so please be patient with regards to that. So what can we do? We provide assistance, we provide resources, we provide networking opportunities, we provide connections, and that's probably been the biggest thing that we've received positive feedback about. We have several clients sitting out in the audience today, and they basically just even a simple e-introduction to someone at a partner organization or company that you've been trying to get to and you can't, we'll try to make it happen. So those connections are a big deal with regards to opportunities, and then the training component as well. What we cannot do is guarantee a coastal contract award. I'd love to say that all CTAC clients are being awarded all of the coastal contracts in the state. Unfortunately, that's not the case, but we do provide assistance with trying to get you there. Some of the new services we begin offering for our professional and consulting services clients is we have quarterly meetings with CPRA, and they only allow these for CTAC clients. So basically, and I know a few of our companies that are sitting here today have done these quarterly meetings. If you've ever tried to meet with organizations like CPRA, sometimes it's quite difficult. So we provide you with opportunities for a 45-minute time slot to basically meet with all of the division heads of CPRA. If you are looking for, you have all the information as of this morning to contact Mr. Dave and Ness with regards to information here, but we try to offer different opportunities for those networking and contract questions and those sorts of things. For our construction services clients, we hosted a matchmaking event earlier this year. We're looking to do that more regularly, and that allowed for a lot of companies to connect. We'll give you tips and tricks, just little things that we've learned on getting your foot in the door. And then we are looking to launch some training videos pretty soon. What types of businesses and services are needed with regards to what we're looking for in CTAC clients? Basically anything and everything you can think of within coastal protection and restoration, but we're not just looking to work with dredging companies. We're looking to work with machine shops. We're looking to work with welders. We're looking to work with all of the other support companies and subcontractors that some of our larger prime contractors may need to work with. So how to sign up is very simple. LouisianaCTAC.org is our website. You click on Become a Client, and like Cindy said, it takes about 5 minutes to fill out our application. We do work very closely with Apex Accelerators, so if you sign up for our services, we're immediately forwarding your information to Apex so that you can receive both of our services, because again, we're the backup singers and we complement what they do. So just to give you an idea, our program has not been in existence for very long. It's just under 3 years that I've been in this position. And so our outreach throughout the state, we have about 3,000 companies that we've been in contact with, or 3,000 people and about 2,400 companies. And those numbers are actually a little bit higher now, but that's just an estimate. Our clients, we have about 160 clients as of earlier this week. And just to give you a breakdown of what type of contractors we work with, you can see the list there: 50 construction, 93 professional services, 17 that have both construction and professional services. By contractor type, we have 20 major primes, 33 subcontractors, and 107 companies that we work with that, depending on the size of the project, could be either a prime or a subcontractor. So this is our map of just an overview of where our clients are located throughout the state. So like I said, statewide, and we are free, completely free. It costs you nothing but 5 minutes of your time to sign up, and we will start delivering information to your inbox. I say that again because normally it takes 3 times for that to sink in. Free. Opportunities, free. Those are 2 important words. And we are free services, so please utilize this service. And I just want to mention some of our partners. I know I mentioned LED and CPRA before, but South Louisiana Economic Council, we work closely with Nichols State University and their coastal program, the Water Institute, Apex, Army Corps, and here is some contact information. Email is the best way to get in touch with me because I am on the road a lot, but you can follow us on social media and reach out via email. I'm rarely in the office, I'll tell you that. So I didn't even put my office number on there. So email is the best way to get in touch with me, and I'd like to thank Mr. Dave, Ms. Ness, Colonel Jones for inviting CTAC once again this year. And we will have a table, so if you have any further questions about CTAC, please feel free to stop by our table after lunch.
Thank you, and thank you. Did anybody see opportunity in her presentation? Because remember, a lot of times the state does their own contracting and nothing to do with the federal side. Ooh, another place to go for business. Another nugget for coming to this event. Speaking of events, my next presenter, Miss Sherrie Cordi, who escaped from the New Orleans District, and she'd come back home for a little bit. Then we're kicking her back to Memphis. So opportunities in the Memphis District, and what they do is a little bit different than what we do here. But that word, opportunity, is there for you. Miss Cordi.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Mr. Dave. As many of you know, I was at New Orleans District before Memphis. I went to Memphis District in March, and now Miss Nez has taken my place. If you haven't spoken to her already, she's a gazillion times better than me. So you're in good hands with not only Mr. Dave, of course, but with Miss Nez too. She's really wonderful. I do want to take a second to say it's so great to see some of you, because ever since I moved districts, and also because most things are virtual, we don't get to see each other a whole lot, like Miss Cindy Carrier was saying earlier. And in the small business world, it really is like a family, so it's really great to see you. It's so funny with the pictures because some people will look so different, and with me, it's you look tired. You look tired. So like I said, I'm with Memphis District. I'm going to go over where we are. I'll go over what we do, what we buy, why we buy it, why it's important, and we'll go over our forecast and all of that good stuff. So here's where we are. Of course, we're a part of the Mississippi Valley Division. We're the smallest little district, and we do the least amount. We're almost the same size as New Orleans. We may be, I don't know what the square footage difference is, but any or square, whatever. But we do the least amount in dollars. But historically, our 3-year average from I think FY19 to FY22, we did around 80%, I think, somewhere between 75 to 80% small business dollars. So that's really awesome. This year's different. They didn't have a small business person, so that's why. But anyway, hopefully FY24 will be back in our court again. So here's where we are. We do cover six states: Mississippi, Arkansas, Tennessee, Kentucky, Missouri, and a little tiny sliver of Illinois. We have 600 miles of navigation channels. And I know that you guys can read all this, but it's important to know all these things because then you can have a better understanding of what we're going to buy. So we cover over 1,000 miles of federal levees. We do water sustainability. So we do what we do along with the rest of the division, the Mississippi Valley Division, because of the Great Flood in 1927. Raise your hand if you've heard of this. Probably everybody. So, but before I went to the Memphis district, I was just uneducated. I'm from Alabama, so that's maybe why. But I was not educated about the Great Flood. So, but it did increase my understanding of why we do what we do, why it's important. We got to keep the river in place and open for commerce. But from the flood, a lot of land was inundated. For the deaths, I read that upwards of 1,000 people died. That $1 billion, that was like a third of their federal budget at the time. So really crazy. But this is why we do what we do. So here's a snapshot of what Memphis District is about. We do stone dikes. Who knows about revetment and like what it looks like and that kind of thing. So that's another thing I wasn't very familiar with before Memphis District, but they sent me a YouTube video, and that was really helpful to see it in action and what it actually is. So I put a link in there, so when you get the slides, if you haven't seen what it is or know much about it, you can click on that. It's like 7 minutes, and it's really, really cool. Oh, quick fact about this, the articulated concrete mattress you see right here. So normally that's done, if you've never seen it before, they have, it's not by hand, but it's manual. They'll do the little square concretes. We're actually in the process of trying to get an acquisition strategy together to build an automatic mat casting unit facility built. That's something to keep an eye out for, but that'll be really, really cool. We do clearing and snagging, dredging. So New Orleans, I think maybe a few other districts, they do have opportunities for small businesses because they have some smaller dredge jobs. We don't in Memphis District. It's all large firms, but as I'm sure that you know, large companies are they do need to comply, or they do need to submit a subcontracting plan that has 40-something elements that they have to go through and check off to make sure that they're giving maximum practicable opportunity to small businesses. So even if you don't have a 24-inch cutter head dredge or whatever, you may still have an opportunity to find some contracting opportunities. Okay, do that. We have 3 pump stations. Some things that we've had recently are some gearbox repairs or replacements. We had to redo like a trash rack. Who's familiar with the Grand Prairie re-procurement that we just put out not too long ago? Nobody? Then maybe that's why it's going to a large business.
No.
Not a small business like it should have been. So we have Inslee Engineer Yard. There, if you're not big into like the 237990 NAICS code, Inslee, I can't talk today. Inslee Engineer Yard, they buy they do like janitorial services. They do buy things for like the dredge hurley and stuff like that. And we'll get to the dredge hurley in a few slides, but that has some good opportunities for services or supply and stuff. Here are our other offices who, like any other office, need to purchase things like janitorial and trash and services and stuff. Okay, so this is just going over some stuff we've already talked about. Oh, this is really cool. So this, you don't need to know, but it's cool to look at a visual picture of why it's important to keep the river open. One barge tow can carry the same amount as 432 rail cars or 2,100 big rigs, as my kids like to say when they see them going on the highway. No one honks anymore. Has anyone noticed that? They don't honk anymore. Maybe, I don't know if it's because I'm an adult now, or... okay, so we do own our own dredge, the dredge Hurley. It's one of 4 core-owned dredges in Lower Mississippi. Something that we have for the dredge Hurley right now is a huge list of supplies. I mean, they buy everything from shower curtains to like coil and you name it, it's probably on that list. So it's another thing to look out for. We covered 10 harbors. Again, this is just dredging, so even if you don't own the equipment to dredge, look for those subcontracting opportunities. St. Francis Basin. This is pretty much all the same stuff we've already discussed. Some people just can't make presentations, and I am one of those people. We are responsible for water sustainability. So the city of Memphis, our source of water is groundwater. So we need to, and I'm not a technical person, as if you haven't already noticed, but so one of the things that we need to do is to make sure that we continue our groundwater sustainability, and that includes Biomeda and Grand Prairie. Did anyone here look at that Biomeda? I think it's Canal 3.2 or something, or Canal 1000 3.2 source of salt we just had out not too long ago? No, only New Orleans opportunities you're looking at. Okay, there are other places to look, not just New Orleans. Oh, and real quick, so New Orleans, y'all have like an overabundance of really, really wonderful contractors, especially 8A contractors. Memphis, we have a few, but there aren't really a whole lot, so that should tell you opportunity.
Go
There's
get 'em.
opportunity in Memphis. Okay. Here's the QR code. This does not mean that I'm done yet. I have a few more slides, but here's our beautiful QR code that I did create, so I'm good at something. You can bookmark this page. We have been pretty good at updating our forecast quarterly. So you can save that and just check back every now and again to see if it's updated. There's always something new that's going to be on there or taken off. Here is our current small business page. That QR code links directly to that. One thing that I've heard is that it's hard to find our acquisition forecast. Yes, that is absolutely true. It's currently buried here in the helpful link section. I'm working with our PAO to get it moved for it to be the first thing that you see. So it'll be easier soon. But if you can't find it, just email me and I can send it to you. Super easy. There's my contact information. That's my office phone. It rings directly to my government cell phone. I'm not going to answer right away probably, but I will call you back, and if I don't, just call me again and call me again or email me again. Let's see. Here is our current FY24 acquisition forecast. I do have an updated version of this, so if you want it, just email me or check back hopefully in next week to see if they've posted it on the website. Some of these things, I know for sure that they're going to go with specific 8A contractors. So when you check the next acquisition forecast, some of these things won't be on there. Let's see. Oh, two big things that we're about to put out the solicitation for is the seepage MATOC. That's going hub zone set aside. How many of you have seen a hub zone set aside for anything? Well, that's good. Hopefully we start seeing more. So hub zone set aside, that's a huge deal because you don't see those very often. And it's you can see $40 to $45 million. So get you that chunk of change. Miscellaneous repairs MATOC, that's going to 8A set aside. So keep an eye out for that too. That's another big one. Put your name in the hat for that. Let's see here. One thing that's not on here is we're going to have $100 million design bid build MATOC coming out. I think probably late in FY24. So if you're in that arena, that's another thing to think about and consider. Like I said earlier, I'm not a technical person. So if you have questions about any of these projects, you can ask me and I'll find an answer from one of our PMs. I'm not SBA, but I stole SBA size for Miss Jo. Okay, well I stole her size. But I wanted to touch real quick because on the non-manufacturer rule, because these are things that I'm sure that you probably are familiar with, but if you're not, it's something that you need to look at and just be aware of. I'm not going to read it to you, but you can look at it on the slides later. But it's basically that, anyway, I'm not going to read it. Limitations on subcontracting. So, even if you can't, it says limitations, but it's also, you could also look at it as an opportunity because if you can't perform all the project or the majority of the project, I mean, it may not matter too much. You can find a loophole in this because especially for construction, which, you know, a lot of we do 237990. Hey, after cost of materials, maybe you only have to do 15% of the work. You don't want 15% of the money, so maybe don't shoot for that, but that's a loophole for you to look at those big projects too. I keep forgetting I have this clicker. SAM.gov, we talked about that. You don't even have to log in to search on SAM.gov. One little tidbit I will touch on is the asterisks at the end. Not a lot of people know about that, and I don't know why it does what it does, but if you add that to the end of a DODAC, which is like each district's code, it just brings up more stuff for you to see. So if you're trying to search and you don't find what you're looking for, try to add that in and just see if it works. It probably will. But W912EQ is the Memphis District DODAC. Did not know that was in there. So real quick, yes ma'am?
I have a question for you, well, of course. My question is, when you put a notice out there, like a notice intent for sole source, what does it mean for the firms who are seeing it on SAM.gov? So what does it mean and what can they do? Can they ask for it? Can they, what can the firms do with that information?
I'll defer to Mr. Dave.
Well, thank you very much. The intent to sole source is just a notification, right? This is the plan going forward. There's nothing happening until the solicitation and the acquisition strategy is decided, and now we're deciding we're going 8A competitive, hub zone, woman-owned, etc. You're letting you know to look for that. It's a notification. It's a golden nugget, an opportunity, right? Am I right? Yes. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No problem.
I'll just add to that, I'm with the Rockland District. A lot of times if we do an intent to sole source, we will actually get to the point where we don't speak with anybody other sources out there, so we'll put intent to sole source. If you see that, you think, well, I can actually bid on that, I can do that work, let that district know, because then, okay, hey, we can go competitive, or we can, that's just one part of research. But our research is just showing that we can't find anybody to actually do that work.
Ding, 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 ding.
So there's always a note.
Yes, ma'am,
So,
please.
Two cables, non-filament cables. So always remember, when you look at those, there's always a note in there that tells you that if you think you can, provide the service or the construction, to please contact the contracting officer. So read the entire thing when you're looking at that information in SAMS, and it directs you, what you can do. And you can reach out to that contracting officer and say, yes, you know what, I think I can do this. We had an incident before I retired where we had put something out as, sole source. We advertised it. There was a company out there that said, I can do this. But instead of coming to the contracting officer and saying, hey, I can do this, he went directly to our legal folks. And legal came to me, and I said, well, it's in the note. We told him that, anybody out there that thinks that they can do this work, let us know. From our research, this is what we found, and we only found the one company. So those are out there just for you all to understand that maybe we're raising our hand and waving the white flag, and we're looking for someone.
So to add some additional information regarding the limitations on subcontracting, keep in mind that the reason those limitations are there are to ensure that the purposes of the small business programs are met. So it's not intended for you to just simply serve as a pass-through. So if you have an opportunity to perform more of the work, then you want to do that because that's only going to expand your capacity and capability to perform. Also keep in mind that the contracting officers are taking a look and reviewing to see how much of the work you are doing. And if it turns out that you haven't done what you're supposed to do, especially if it's an 8A contract, then they're going to reach out to us and they're going to say this firm only performed 10% of the cost of the contract, excluding the materials and supplies. Then it causes us to look at you harder, like, can you really do this work? And should we really accept this requirement for you? And something else that's been added that was included in the NDAA a few years ago is the similarly situated entities, SSE. So what does that mean? If it's a small business set aside and you need to subcontract some of that work, consider subcontracting it to another small business, and that percentage that they're performing goes towards your percentage. Likewise, if it's 8A, subcontract with another 8A. If it's hub zone, subcontract with another hub zone. If it's woman-owned small business or veteran, subcontract with one of those entities if it's under that set aside. That's going to help you meet your performance percentage, but it's also going to help us build up our small business contracting base, which has fallen by 46% over the past decade. So that's going to help bring some new small businesses into it. But don't take that 52219 FAR clause, 21914 FAR clause too lightly. That speaks about the subcontracting limitations, and don't take 13 CFR 125.6 too lightly. That brings SBA into it, making sure that you performed your minimum performance requirements. I know you know how to do this.
I thank everyone for their engagement on that. Those are some pointers that you need to pay attention to. This is part of the 8A program overall, the limitation on subcontracting, because you want to perform that work yourself, all that work in-house. You're not subbing it out, you're making the profits yourself. Because there again, outsourcing things is costly. What can you do or bring into your organization and grow your organization within? You want to move up, the more you do, the more you can control in-house. Thank you, Ms. Cordi. Appreciate the great presentation. They have a lot of opportunities up there. That wheeler, that dredge wheeler, if you're in the manufacturing arena, is there. In the sake of time, I know my stomach is growling. I don't know about yours, but let's move on if you would, because I'm lunch guy myself. So we're going to move on to Mr. Demetric Erwin from our Vicksburg district. Demetric.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Willis and Ms. Ness, for inviting the Vicksburg District to share the procurement opportunities. The Vicksburg District is a civil works district that covers 68,000 square miles across the portions of the Mississippi, Louisiana, and Arkansas. Our assets includes, as you can see, hydro plants, Red River ports, drainage basins, locks and dams, recreation areas, navigable channel miles, and acres of forestry and wildlife land. Some of our primary business lines are flood risk management, which includes levees, dikes, revetments, structures and reservoirs. Navigation responsibilities include 300 miles on the Mississippi River, Red and Ouachita, Black River, locks, dams, and ports. Ecosystem restoration, water supply, regulatory. On our recreation, we have 10 flood control reservoirs, 2 waterways, and 2 visitor centers, opportunities for hunting, swimming, fishing, boating, camping, and more. Hydropower, emergency management, and support to contingency operation. The types of work is construction, engineering services, and other services. Under construction, we have dredging, levee construction, dike repairs, and stone dike. Under engineering services, we have surveying, mapping, value engineering, construction inspection, and bridge inspection. Under other services, we have a need for heavy equipment rentals, lease of towboats, tender boats, rock stone supplies, janitorial services, security guard services, and operation and maintenance of our lakes in Mississippi and Arkansas. This shows our small business program accomplishments as of 28 August. Total obligation as of 28 August is $183 million. Currently, we are not meeting our women-owned small business goal and our service-disabled veteran-owned small business goals. So we have been focusing on setting aside projects to women-owned small businesses that are capable of meeting our services that we have. And majority of our services are under Mexico 237990. So we have a lot of procurement opportunities that fall under 237990, other heavy and civil engineering construction. Our next top Mexico is 541330, and that's engineering services, and 561210 is facility support services. So the Vicksburg District Small Business, Office of Small Business Programs ensures that small businesses have the maximum practical opportunity to participate in the Vicksburg District acquisitions through contracts and subcontracts. So in FY22, Vicksburg District obligated over $177 million, and 74% of that was awarded to small businesses. Quick tips for marketing your business and doing business with the Vicksburg District, and probably all of USACE, is first, the majority of you are established, but it's in a few hands that are new. You must be registered in SAM System for Award Management. Research our mission and know what we buy, how we buy it, when we buy it. You want to familiarize yourself with the government's procurement regulations, and some of this information was shared earlier. You can request a marketing meeting with the Office of Small Business Program, the Deputy for Small Business, and Mr. Joe mentioned in his presentation earlier, he gave a scenario of what you need to do before you request a capabilities briefing. For our procurement opportunities, our procurement opportunities are posted on SAM, and our DODAC code is W912EE. It's also important to respond to source assault notices. These notices are used for market research purposes and to determine the availability of small businesses. Also, we need to explore subcontracting opportunities. So some of our procurement opportunities, the first two that's listed are already posted on SAM and expected to close pretty soon. There's our Delta Headquarters project, which is set aside for service-disabled veteran-owned small businesses. And Big Sunflower Construction Phase 13, that project was set aside for women-owned small businesses. The last three projects listed on the slide is scheduled to be advertised and awarded in FY24. And I'm going to update my forecast probably the end of September with the release date. So those are some of our heavy civil construction projects that's scheduled to be awarded by the end of the FY and next FY. Channel improvement, the Paradise Lake Dam closure, a source of salt is currently posted on SAM. Now, so if your company is capable of providing channel improvement type services, that source of salt is currently on SAM. I think it's expected to close pretty soon, but we still accept, you may still send your capabilities to the point of contact that's listed in the source of salt notice. All of these projects are Mississippi River levee projects. Some of these projects will be awarded under the current MATOC that we have. And the other, we have a Mississippi River levee MATOC, new MATOC, scheduled to come out in FY24. As stated earlier, I'm going to update my forecast to give the release date. But any contractors, any of these procurement opportunities, I know it's such a short description of the project, but if you're a heavy civil construction firm that's capable of performing any of these services, just see me this afternoon, and I will take your information, and as soon as information is posted to SAM, I will send you the notice to be on the lookout for the requirement. There's a few more of our upper Yazoo projects is scheduled to be awarded in FY24, and all of these release date has the quarters that they're going to be released. And please notice that on the on all of the slides for the procurement opportunities, that it says schedules and values may change based on availability of funding and other factors. So you may see them now, and they may not be awarded this FY during the time that it was listed on the slide. For AE, for engineering contractors, these are our projects that's scheduled to be awarded in FY24 and FY25. You know, there was a value engineering source of salt posted maybe a month or two ago, so that requirement is scheduled to be released the first quarter. We also had a architect and engineering design requirement that's scheduled to be advertised in the first quarter of FY24. And this concludes the Vicksburg District procurement opportunities. Again, as stated, I will have an updated forecast by the end of September, posted on our website. So please see me if you capable of performing any services that was posted in my slides. Thank you.
All right, you saw a couple of nuggets there. I want you to remember what Howie Mandel said this morning on the phone. Can you smell it? Can you smell the word opportunity? It's there. Don't let it pass you by. Our next presenter comes from our sister Mobile District, USACE fine organization. Ms. Sonya Rodgers.
Good morning. Before I get started, I wanted to clarify something. I am from Alabama, born, raised, educated in Alabama. I just want to clarify something. And let me take these glasses off.
Oh.
We were born and raised in Alabama. It has nothing to do with our education. I think what she was trying to say is, we didn't learn the history of Mississippi. Okay? I just want to clarify. We are very smart people. Otherwise, we wouldn't be sitting where we are now.
We're the only two, though. The only two.
I just kind of looked around the room and I thought, oh my God, I'm the dumbest one. But seriously, that's what it was. I think what she was trying to say is, we don't really know the history of Mississippi because we were taught the history of Alabama, okay? So I am the new kid on the block in Mobile District. 36 years of contracting experience as a contracting officer and a grant officer. 1 year of experience as a small business deputy, so I'm glad to be here. I see a lot of faces that I've met before doing capability briefings, and I'm looking forward to seeing more of you to come and visit. Why? Because Mobile has opportunities. Okay, let's go. So my agenda today is gonna be, I'm gonna talk a little bit about the Mobile District responsibilities, my small business goals, our top 5 next codes by the small business categories, active solicitations, market research, projected solicitations, doing business with the government, and the Mobile District's forecast. There's my commander, Colonel Jeremy Chapman. Now the Mobile District, we employ about 1,100 civilians, about 10 we call green suiters, military officers. Our presence, we are doing work in the state of Alabama, Florida, Georgia, Mississippi, as well as all of Central and South America. We manage about $1 billion in military and civil works. We do respond to disasters, management, water, resource infrastructures, and we provide facilities for our national defense and interagency partners. Our civil works mission, we are about 6 major river systems providing over 22 miles of navigation. We have 7 deep water harbors, 21 shadow draft ports, and flood controls over 67 projects that have presented in excess of $200 million in flood damages over the last 10 years. We have a big hydropower presence. We have 8 hydropower facilities that generate about 2.6 billion kilowatts of electricity, which we return about 44.8 million to the Treasury. We also manage the largest recreation programs in the federal government with 27 lakes, 464 recreational areas, averaging more than 34.1 million in visitors per year. So this picture is a group of us about 3 weeks ago. This is one of the newer projects that we have ongoing. Jonah White is our PM person. He hosted an industry day in Selma, Alabama. If that bridge is familiar to some of you, that's the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Selma. And I know a lot of you know about that bridge. Okay, so we got a big presence there now because there's some deterioration going on. And you have to believe it. You have to see it to believe it. I was there, of course, representing small business to answer any questions about small business because That's Selma, Alabama. There's a lot of small businesses in that area. And I needed them to be present so that they can get a visual eye on exactly what was going on. And I was very surprised that where we're standing, it's just a few feet away and there's a drop. All of that has been washed away. So there's a big project that's getting ready to happen there, and it will be a small business set aside. So my goals, we've all talked about goals. And looks like Demetric and I are suffering from the same thing. We're in need of small disadvantaged veteran-owned small businesses and woman-owned small businesses. So I like to use the word not met my goals, but I'm going to exceed my goals because September is the month for us. And I've signed, reviewed and signed a lot of 2579s that say either they're certified in those areas or we're going to do some set-asides in those areas. So right now, this is what it looks like. Stay tuned, 3rd of September. So my slides here are divided into my top 5 NAICS codes for each category. First category being small business. The top 5 are listed, and the dollar amounts that we have expended so far are listed. Under that is the small disadvantaged business dollars and the top five NAICS codes. Small disadvantaged veteran-owned small business, top 5. Women-owned small business, top 5. Hub zones. Is that me or is it?
It's
That drinking last night is not working.
So I hope that the slides are going to be made available. I promise you I didn't send it in that way.
We will clean up whatever's left on aisle 13.
Okay, so the dredging program. Normally Mobile District has 24-inch cutter head dredges with attendants. So now, right now, we're asking for the 30-inch, but we still do our 24-inch. Under the NAICS codes, how we set it aside, here we go with a SATOC, single award task order contracts. Definitely small business opportunities there. The value of each of those contracts. And you may see a lot of 2023 on here because I left them on there so you would know the type of work that we do procure in Mobile. You will see 2024 also. Because also, they're ending in 2024, which means somewhere close to these dates could be opportunities to re-procure. Under the AE Civil Works program, there are a lot of projects. Again, they were estimated award dates, some August, last day of August, right? I don't know if it's awarded yet, I'm not in August. But anyway, there they are, how they were set aside. Of course, there's GSA schedules because there are a lot of them that are out there. We have 8A competitive contracts, and there's the small business set asides. The dollar values, the estimated contract award dates, and the estimated end dates. And again, those end dates are very important. Why? Because of subcontractor re-procurements. One more under the AE. You can have it. No. Construction. NAICS codes, how we set them aside, dollar values, estimated award dates, estimated end dates. Yes, Mobile has a lot of work. Yes, we need. Now that DHA was formerly called Medcom, if you're all familiar with Medcom, the Medical Command. Mobile District is the regional center now. So a lot of those contracts will be coming through us. There's that Hub Zone. Full and open competition with Hub Zone opportunities. That's why I say I'm gonna exceed my goals this year.
That's right.
We do work at Redstone Arsenal, MacDill Air Force Base. For my 8A programs, check out those values. There's lots of work out there. Those O&M contracts, like I said earlier, how many O&M recreational areas that we have, those are basically your janitorial, grass mowing type contracts of our recreational areas and resource manager's office. They're big, there's a lot of small business opportunities, and a lot of times we set them aside for small business. But it's usually the same 4 players. We need some new players in there now. And I'm looking at the one 23R30 up at Okeechobee Lake. It's not a big lake, it's one of our smaller ones. But it's located not far from you. Meridian, Mississippi. We have a design bill at the bottom, 23R93, to renovate, repair, and new construction of the Maxwell Air Force Base. The offer will be required to renovate, to repair, and some new construction. The work will vary from different sites. You need explicit knowledge of functional operations related to efficient use of the facilities, equipment, and facility support systems. There are some restrictions: utilities, anti-terrorist, force protection measures, parking, and building structures. Lots of 8A opportunities, excuse me. I want to use that word as often as I can. So market research. As a small business professional, we assist with market research. We don't actually do it. But what we do is, once you come in with your capability statements, we do them virtual or in person. My office take that next code, which is very important, or your top however many, and we put them in a database. So when the program managers, project managers, contracting officers, contract specialists come and say, hey, small business, can you assist us? Especially now, because this is execution time, and we're trying not to have to go to 30-day, SAM.gov, procurement, whatever. We can develop a list, and all I have to do is go in my database, pull up a list of the next codes that were presented to me, hand them the list and said, hey, you would have never known that I had just solicited your business or given your business for some opportunities, but there it is. So you may get a call and say, hey, I'm gonna send you a description of some work or solicitation. Let me know if you think you can bid on it. Most of it, if not all of it, okay? So be ready for some of those opportunities. Those next codes are very important, especially when we've talked about it, I've seen you, I feel confident that you can do the work, and I'm gonna solicit your information to the contracting officer or the program or project manager or to the contract specialist, so that you may be one of the ones who get that opportunity and turn it around real fast and get those jobs. Here's another dredging opportunity. We don't have a date on that one yet. This was a very interesting one. And I don't know, it's a fin fish farming. It's the first time I ever saw it, last year that came out. And we tried our best. We thought we had a small business contractor that could do it. And he was on the job, he really was. But he had to purchase from someone else. And the way he explained it is that you have to grow them to a certain size. We didn't have the time. It needed to be done at a certain time before he could grow the fish size that we needed. But we put him on notice, it's coming back. So how to do business with us? Again, I'm Sonya. I have a counterpart with me. Most of you know Cy. Basically the same thing with any government contracting is definitely SAM.gov. We do capability briefings, although not in the fourth quarter because of execution. Virtual or in person. Virtual, it can be Teams or WebEx. And please be patient with wanting to come inside to see us because it's just two of us. And we only do it on certain days because we don't work in the building. I do 3 days a week, Cy does 2. But we do have other work too. So we will schedule a couple a day, morning and in the afternoons, for 2 days a week. And the list is already long and filled up for October. That's Cy. A lot of you know Cy. You worked for Linda a long time ago. And Cy's still around. Other ways to get in touch with us through internet and social media is listed there. And that is not me, but that's the end of my presentation.
That's a good jumping off point. As you saw from her presentation, there was a lot of good information in there for you. I don't have to use the magic word, but I see coming up, we always say the best for last is what I'm told. So you tell me if this works before we kind of lay out the afternoon schedule for it. I'd like to introduce Mr. Troy Robbins and say thank you, Ms. Sonya Rodgers from our Mobile District.
And he said the best for last. Really?
Got to drop the gauntlet somewhere. Got to raise the bar. So that's it. Sonya, we appreciate you.
All right, now I am actually the last one before lunch, so I apologize. And I don't know Oprah, but I did sell advertising to Oprah's florist. So I did give you her. As far as Beyonce, I got nothing. So. I'm actually with the Rock Island District, and this is kind of our footprint here. A lot of things that we do is we have a recreation. We have a lot of parks, which we have like the mowing, the feed attendants, the janitorial stuff. We're also emergency management. We're actually the flood risk management for the whole National Flood Fight Management program. So we actually provide sandbags and HESCO barriers to all across the United States for that. So we're kind of headquarters for that. We have environmental stewardship, a lot of different things up and down the Mississippi River and also Illinois Waterway. A lot of navigation, like a lot of my counterparts have already kind of talked about. There's just a lot of stuff going up and down these rivers here, which has been pretty incredible. So this is just kind of our kind of footprint and some of the things that we really work on. Small business goals, our goals were set 2 years ago before the infrastructure bill, the BIL, was actually signed. So we went from like about 125 million a year up to like 300 million a year. So with no chance of changing our goals. So a lot of things that were kind of added to it. And when that infrastructure bill came out, it's kind of like when you get the toy catalog, your kids start circling every toy in there, and they realize that whoa, we don't have all the money for that. So it was just kind of, we kind of got excited about it. A lot of the forecasts were changing. Forecasts are one of those things where just kind of, once you push send, the forecast is obsolete because it just things moved and stuff. So we're really working on the Rock Island District as far as making sure we update the forecast every quarter just to get more of a kind of a guideline. I mean, we've had so many projects go from FY22 to FY23 to FY24 just because we don't have the engineering staff to get them done. We don't have the money. Sometimes the money gets borrowed from this to go to there. So it's been really hard. So I'm pushing them on that. So these are our goals for FY22-23. We're getting close this year. We're really working on trying to get small disadvantage, also women-owned. especially with like, you know, like fabrication and construction, those kind of things. So I'm just going to highlight 3 big projects that we do. You know, we have a lot of different opportunities coming up here. So if you guys want more information, just give me an email, and I always send out email blasts. Anytime we have a solicitation that hits the street, I email everybody. You know, if it's a source of saw, if it's an industry day, I just email everybody, just because it might not pertain to you, but you might have a golf buddy that hey, I just got this, and you know, you guys can take a look at this opportunity. That's part of networking. This is the Brandon Road project. It's up on the Illinois Waterway. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of it, the Asian carp. There's a real big problem up there with Asian carp, and they're trying to keep it out of Lake Michigan and the Great Lakes, because if the Asian carp get in there, they can destroy the ecosystem. And so we have like electric barrier by Romeoville. This project is probably about $1 billion, and so there's going to be a lot of big projects with this, whether it's $100 million, $150 million. They're just bigger projects. And as a small business deputy, I want those small business set aside. So the only way I'm going to be able to do those things is if you guys have some kind of connection to a tribal company or a joint venture, teaming arrangements. You know, we're just trying to keep it a small business, and you know, we need your guys' help to be able to do that. So if you guys have connections, I mean, we're starting to get some of the large companies that have a joint venture with the Alaska Native company or tribal or Hawaiian, doesn't matter, because that way I can do a small business set aside. We can actually sole source up to $100 million, but a lot of times we get major pushback on that, and you know, they're just like, well, I'm never going to sign that. I'm like, well, we can do it regulation-wise, but so if we can do a small business set aside, great. I mean, so that basically takes about, you know, at least 2 small businesses that are tribal that can actually do $100 million jobs without, you know, worrying about the size standard. So this is actually a project we're actually going to have like speakers in the water, you know, to kind of scare the fish away. We have bubbler systems, electric barriers, and just a complete rehab of this project here. I mean, these are just some of the different increments that we have, and this is going to be over you know, FY 2029 is the last one. So that used to be FY 27, but now it's still 29. So that's just how things happen in the government. Things get moved. So it's one of those things where I'm always collecting market research. I got a whole database of a lot of our different projects, everyone I've talked to, everyone who's interested in those things, because once we do get funding, once we get real estate approved, you know, it's usually a go now, and it's just like I can call people and say, hey, you still interested? Are you still going to be bidding these things? So it helps us as far as with small business set-asides. So this is just one of the big projects. It's actually, a lot of people are looking at it, and you know, even the president of the staff is looking at these things, just because it's a major thing. It's millions of dollars from Michigan and Illinois funding this project, so it's a pretty big deal. This just kind of it breaks it down a little bit. Just the 1A, and the 1A I'm hoping, you know, we'll get probably out in the street probably by January, and that's around $100 million. It could be north of $125 million. We're just not really sure. Obviously, with the way the economy is and stuff like that, you know, just trying to gauge what prices are going to be in 6-7 months on some of this stuff. You know, that's kind of holding everything back for us. So this just kind of gives you an idea. Advertise it, you know, hopefully fourth quarter FY24. We're actually going to beat that, but we're just trying to, you know, get more information. We've had some industry days. We've had some roundtable discussions. We do a lot of those in the Rock Island District. So keep an eye out for those kind of things, because it's a great time for you guys to actually kind of meet and, you know, and talk and ask questions with our technical staff. And so I always recommend those things. I mean, in any district, or if you see a project, ask the small business deputy if you can have a roundtable discussion about it, even before it hits the street, because it's just another way for you guys to network inside the districts and actually talk to people. We've done that with the Southwest Coast, we'll talk about in a second, and it was fantastic because it gave our technical people like, man, I really like that company. And it's like, it's almost kind of like a subliminal thing. We're just like, every time we talk about it, like, well, remember that one company we talked to? It's just another way to get in there. So it's just always, I always recommend that call them up and just ask. And they can always say no, but just if they say yes, it's great. Just another way for you to really kind of reach out. And then, you know, they say, hey, can we get some more information from industry? That's another way they can do that. Another big project is the NEST program. Is the Navigation Ecosystem Sustainability Program. This is another really big, I mean, it's going to be several $100 million on this project. It could end up being about $1 billion. This, along with the Brandon Road, there's going to be a lot of AE work involved with this as well. So a lot of our AE works I used to do when I was in contracting. I was in contracting for like 12 years. And I did a lot of the AE task orders, a lot of the MATOCs with that. And we used to do about maybe $15 million a year. Now we have task orders for $40 million, $50 million. So that's just how much engineering work that needs to be out there. And we just don't have enough engineers in the Corps to be able to do all this work. And that's where you're starting to see AE stuff blowing up everywhere. You got, I think, Galveston has like $900 million MATOC. Sherrie, we were just talking about doing one. So there's going to be all kinds of different MATOCs out there. We're actually working on one. We're working on a $250 million MATOC, but it's going to be like a $50 million just to get it going, and then probably another $200 million, but we're just waiting to get approval with our division and stuff like that on that. But there's just a lot of AE work. So if you guys are in the AE world, let me know. If you guys are tribal with AE, let me know, because it's like any way we can kind of keep these small businesses, because it used to be, it was easier to keep a small business, but the size of the things, it's got to be a tribal to be able to do it, because otherwise, I got to tell AE firms, like, do you want to be large? Because I can make you large, just the way the task orders and the size of the project. So you just look at $1 billion thing with the 6% design, that's a $60 million an AE work on just one project. So that's the kind of the level, the size of these projects, and the opportunities, like Dave says, to just get you guys foot in the door, or have a team together to kind of work on those things. But the ecosystem, the NEST program, this is going to be some bigger programs. We're actually monitoring the fish going up and down the river, just so we can kind of get an idea of how they're interacting. This is really a lot of like eco. There's a lot of eyeballs on this as far as with the United States, as far as looking at these projects. I mean, we just had Industry Day up at Lock 22 on this one, and it was just news networks everywhere taking a look at it. So it's just a good opportunity to get some visibility for you guys, if you guys are involved in those kind of things for future work. And this just kind of breaks down some of the plannings, and some of all the different, if you see all the bubbles, all the different things from Minneapolis down south of St. Louis. That's how many areas are going to be part of this NEST program. So there's going to be a lot of industry days with this, a lot of roundtable discussions, just to keep industry engagement, just so we can learn, because you guys are in the trenches. As much as we can learn from you guys, it'll help us put better solicitations out there and whatnot. So. This is the Lock 22 one I was just talking about. If you look at the kind of, that's kind of a ramp, and so the fish can kind of make their way up over the locks, go up and down the river and stuff like that, instead of kind of going through the chambers. So that just kind of gives you another idea there. These are some of the upcoming solicitations that are out right now. We have quite a few of them right now. We've awarded a few of them. We're going to do about $300 million this year, and we've only awarded $100 million right now. So we got $200 million to award in 4 weeks. So there's just a lot going on, because sometimes the government kind of waits till the last minute, as you guys know. So unfortunately, we're in the same situation. So some of these ones are on here, and some of the other ones for next year, hopefully, are going to be earlier in the year. So we're not kind of struggling at the end of the year. Southwest Coastal. I know some of the guys in here are very interested in this. We are actually helping out the New Orleans District with this, working with Del Brazard on this. And with our team up at Rock Island, we're raising about 4,000 houses around the Lake Charles area. And we've had some roundtable discussions where we're looking to have an industry day down the road. We are going to start out with about 27 houses, and that should be hitting the street probably into first quarter, beginning of second quarter. So we're in the process now of gathering information and to make sure we put this on the street. It's kind of newer to some of us on the Rock Island District, so we're really reaching out to industry in New Orleans for help and guidance on this one. So this is going to be exciting. This is just kind of an idea of all the different houses that are around. My goal is to keep this small business set aside for this whole thing. And but the size of it, I mean, we need your guys' help. We need you guys. If you guys are can do this, the more people that tell us you can do this, I don't care if it's a joint venture, teaming, whatever it is. Let me know. I have a whole database of companies that can do this down here, and we're looking forward to it and stuff like that. And just the nice thing is, there's most of the companies we talk to have a Louisiana tie. That's real important down here, so we really want to keep it there. And so this is an exciting programming. And I got a tour of a few sites yesterday, just to kind of get some eyeballs on it, so that I could take it back to my team. So I appreciate those companies that were able to give me those tours. So. Any information you guys have on this, I mean, this is, just send it to me. My email will be at the end of this presentation. because it just, we need your guys' help. We're looking to keep this, whether it's a MATOC, whether it's gonna be sole sourcing, whether it's gonna be just set-asides. That's what we're in the process right now, are getting that information, doing the market research for that. These are just some of the different things that we do. We do a flood risk management project up in Cedar Rapids. Cedar Rapids is actually one of those cities where it's actually below the river. And so you guys know about that there, but it gets flooded quite a bit. And so they're actually doing a wall all the way on the east side of it, and it's going to include a big railroad, kind of like doors that on a railway, and it just kind of rolls in and blocks the roads and the railroad. There's gates that open up on it. There's walls. There's actually berms. There's pump stations involved. It's pretty much everything but a Ferris wheel on this thing. So it's been kind of fun. It's a project going from $100 million to almost $200 million, just because it's growing and we're learning more and stuff like that. So it's a really exciting project for us, and that's going to be going on for several years here. We do operations up and down the Mississippi River from Lock 11 to Lock 22. So when you guys have water down there, we actually give you the water, so you're welcome. It was kind of funny because, but Memphis, somebody was really struggling there for a while with water, and they kept calling us and saying, "Can you release some more water?" I said, "No, because we're just barely maintaining our channel up there." So that's the locks aren't for flooding purposes; they're for navigation purposes. Illinois waterway, that's actually the waterway that goes from Lake Michigan on down to the Mississippi River. There's 6 locks on that river. We're in charge of 4. 2 of them are actually with the Chicago district now. There's just all kinds of rehab going on that. We're actually, the LaGrange lock is, we're actually doing 120-foot or 1,200-foot new lock there. And it's going to be probably about $1.5 billion. So a lot of work in there. We're starting to do all the AE work on that, the design work. And so that's going to be in the next several years. And if you guys do a lot, lock, rebuilding and rehab, actually new locks, gates, anything like that. If that's something you guys do, let me know. And we'll that's down the road here a little bit, but it's never too early to market, never too early to get your guys' name in consideration. Operations maintenance, the flood risk management gates, we have our lakes. We have 3 lakes that we monitor. All have dams. So there's a lot of work on the dams there. So if that's something you guys are interested in, let me know. The Inland Navigation Design Center, we're actually the major, I was kind of joking, but it's kind of like the Top Gun of engineering. All the top engineers are part of this program, and they're working on billion-dollar projects all over the place. And I always kind of go in there just kind of, I get getting geeked about some of the projects coming up, and I'm like, well, that's cool. And when there's the SULOC, all the different things that they do. So we're actually the headquarters for that. These are some other ones. PL 8499 rehabilitation. That's just a program for restoring the river when we have big floods. It damaged the levees, and so we have, I think, 12 different projects coming out for that. So these are all small business set-asides, whether it's going to be small business MATOCs, whether it's going to be small business sole sourcing, set-asides. These are perfect. It's a lot of heavy, a lot of moving aggregate. Emergency repairs from the floods if levees break. Navigational, structural, civil channel ecosystem restoration. Building renovations, this is one of my favorite ones because it's 100% small business. And so this is one of the things where we have an arrangement with 88th. We do projects in Chicago, Illinois, and then Madison, Wisconsin, South Dakota, all kinds of different areas, and it's actually growing. Actually, I think we're going to probably get into North Dakota and also Colorado. They basically just give us so much money a year, and hey, these are 6 projects. So if you guys, it's a lot of facilities, maintenance and upgrades. So if that's something you guys are interested in, let me know. Upper Mississippi River restoration. This is a huge project for us. It's keeping everything restored up there. We put a lot of money keeping the river, to where it was. And we do get a lot of floods, unfortunately, and so that just damages everything. So AE services is another thing I was kind of talking about. We have so much AE work coming up here. All of us districts do. So if it's one of those things where you guys are an AE firm, and please reach out to us. Every district tends to kind of grab onto like a few AE firms, and everything's those guys. And so I said there's all kinds of AE firms, great small business AE firms, great tribal AE firms that are not given the opportunity. So we're really working on trying to get those guys in. I know there's a torn process. Districts tend to go looking for capacity, because it's easier because the rates are negotiated. But I'm looking to try to go through the term process, look at 3 different companies, and then be able to award to those companies and stuff. So more to come on that. I mean, I'm working with a lot of SBA offices up in the Chicago area, some somewhat tribal, and so we actually got to meet Mr. Mitha, and I kind of let him know some of the issues that we're dealing with and stuff, and he's like, oh, I did not know that. So just some things that we're trying to make sure more small businesses get more opportunities with the AE world, because it tends to be really heavy on the large companies. We're trying to change that rhetoric for you guys. Our upcoming events, obviously we got the SAMI conference coming up in San Antonio, November 1st to the 3rd. I think we're all going to be there, so this is a great opportunity for networking, and also coming to booths and just meet different companies. I love this. I think last year they had like 5,000 people at it. So if it's something you haven't been to, definitely encourage you guys to go. Our industry day is already set for April 3rd next year. Ours is in person. And so, if you guys are want to, learn more about our district, a little more intense, and we have one-on-ones the day before with all of our different divisions. So, really want to appreciate that. I appreciate you guys, attending, our events. This is just doing business with us, staying connected with us. So, all these slides will be done for you guys, and these are just some of our main contacts for our Rock Island district. And any questions, this is my email. Give me a holler. I actually do answer my phone. I know some small business deputies, we get into it pretty much, and I'm on 100% flex, so I answer calls all the time. So I just love working with the industry and just get your guys' input, because with you guys, we're better small business deputies when we have that relationship with you guys, because we have to know how we can help you guys, whether it's through the Apex Accelerators, the SBA. Those are fantastic groups, and it's amazing how many people with the Apex Accelerators don't reach out to them. And I actually went to an Apex Accelerator conference in DC last year, and just to see how they're all brainstorming about how to get industry to call them, which is crazy to me. I mean, they're just like, I'm trying to help these guys, but they won't call me back. They just utilize those guys. And I know Apex Accelerator is kind of a different name, so I kind of joke about it. It sounds kind of like a superhero, because they are. Just like Apex Accelerator, it's great. So it's just you kind of picture with all these super capes on and stuff, but utilize those guys, because there's so many different things that happen with the regulations and stuff. And I'm glad Joe brought up the NDAA, because it's like we're always looking for ways to kind of sneak stuff in to help you guys. So if there's something that you guys wish would change, let us know, because you guys are the ones going through it, and we can we have a lot of relationships, but really want to encourage that. I mean, there's all kinds of opportunities. Like instead of calling you Mr. Dave, we'll just call you Mr. Opportunity or Mr. O. So if you can, just call him Mr. O. So we actually all work together. So if it's something that, and Dave's recommended people to come up work with me, I've done the same with Dave and stuff like that. So same with Sherrie and same with Demetric. Our MVD is really, really tight. We get together all the time and talk and stuff. So, and I'm glad you're on board now. And so it's kind of cool to be able to, it's a pretty tight community, and we can all help each other. So I appreciate the opportunity. I know you guys are all hungry, and I thought it was the thunder coming, but it's part of your stomachs. But thank you very much. Appreciate it.
This is Cordi Robbins of the Rock Island District. There you go. First of all, I want to say thank you very much for staying awake. You are deaf by PowerPoint, but if you didn't see something on there that tantalized you, you were sleeping. I can tell.